What's going on, everybody? It is your humble YouTube live stream host, Tim, back with another live stream. Let me hold on. I want to see if I can get some more light. Hold on. I don't know. While there's still some natural light to be had outside, let me get some of it. I've seen a lot of shadows. How's it going, everybody? Did I already say humble YouTube live stream host, Tim, back with another live stream? Why does it not look like my sound is okay? There it is. Just waiting for someone to come through. Make sure we're good. Albuquerque in the building. What up, Rick? What up, Rick? Appreciate you coming through, being first. Just making sure everything was okay. CM Punk, how you doing? Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, balancing. We're here. Mark, hello. Sound's working. Okay, thank you, thank you. My sound indicator on my screen wasn't moving. You know, there's like the five or six dots, and as you talk, they light up. It wasn't lighting up. Even still, it's only lighting up like 2, but I guess that's good enough. Hey, Packers, how we doing? How we doing? But it's funny that like now that it just shows me people's ad name. Some people always have some interesting usernames, but people have really interesting ad names because a lot of us picked them thinking that no one would ever see them. So shout out to Butt Crack. We got Tweaks. What up? What up? About to start your shift, Lee. Y'all got any snow up there? We got some snow. Did y'all get snow? Day late. How you doing? How you doing, Karen? Good to see you. Yeah. Today I was off today, so I took it pretty easy today. But I said let me hop on. The last time I streamed, I kind of streamed. Let me pull this down a little more. Still, last time I streamed in the morning. So this time is kind of for me. It's like afternoonish, going into evening. That's another time period I don't. Usually it's a little later in the evening. So I was like, let me go ahead and jump on and let's talk. And I want to talk about abundance. Okay. I want to talk about, I've really been thinking a lot about this. I've really been thinking a lot about this. And y'all know me, like I'm always trying to come up with like new ways in which we can help each other. You know what I mean? New ways in which I can use this platform to help, to inspire, to motivate. I've really been thinking about this a lot. And you're going to notice kind of more content like this being woven in to the fabric of what this channel's about. But I've really been thinking about like how much finances hold so many of us back. Finances hold so many of us back. A lot of times, even sometimes when we get the right mindset, we don't have the money, or we feel we can't get the money, or sometimes that is the one thing that like people can overcome lots of different mindsets. I've noticed this. People can overcome lots of different beliefs and mindsets, but when it comes to like money and finances, it's very hard for us to overcome the programming on that. And I'm like, if we're all about freedom, right? If we're all about living our best life and in the society we live in, finances plays a major part in that, well, then we got to talk about it. We got to talk about it. But we gonna talk about it from y'all know me. I don't like to talk about things the way everybody else talks about things. I like to, come in the back door, and climb in through the window, look at things from above, from below. Like I don't like to just do whatever else. So we're gonna talk about it from like a Tim Ward perspective. And one of the things that I really think about when it comes to like finances and money and anything really, but it ties to finance, it applies. What am I trying to say? It applies to finances and money as well. And that's like how abundant the universe is. You ever sat and thought about just how abundant the universe really is? Hold that thought. I want to say what's up to a few more people. Elvira, how you doing? Cherie, checking in from Texas. Okay. Hey, Ad King, started your YouTube channel, finishing what you started. Nice. No snow in Colorado yet? Oh, man. It's not snowing bad here in Montana. Okay. What up, Simi? Oh, Lisa, no snow. Yeah, Jason, let's keep moving in this direction. What up, Angela? Yeah, Lonely Girl TV. I was waiting for you to be first. You wasn't, so I was a little disappointed, but that's okay. Sam, how you doing? How you doing? So thinking about how abundant the universe is. And and here's something that I recently started thinking about when it comes to finances. A lot of times, and I'm not saying y'all know me. I've been talking about the wealth inequality and the wealth gap and all that stuff for years, and I'm definitely not saying I agree with it. I definitely think it's crazy for some people to be living on the street and other people to be trillionaires, almost billionaires. I think it's crazy. I think it's crazy. Side note: this story popped in my head when I said talking about people living on the street. I was walking the other day, um, and I literally saw a man. We have to do better, folks. I literally saw a man sitting on a park bench peeing because I'm walking and like I'm you walk past somebody and I see the stream of water and I'm like, well, wait a second, he ain't got no cup in his hand. I'm like, he's not pouring. I'm like, bruh. I'm like, dude. I was like, man, we got to do better. He has to do better, but we got to do better. I'm like, bro, like, it was just. I'm like, bro, right on the side of the road, main busy road. I'm like, bro, like I felt so bad for the dude. You know what I mean? So I'm definitely not saying I in any way, shape, or form approve of the wealth gap or wealth inequality. But I instead of just totally looking at it negatively, whenever I look at and I see someone who's like a billionaire, I'm like, the universe is just throwing them money. Or you know what I mean? Like I'm like the universe has allowed, and I know this will be an unpopular take, but once again, I look at things differently. I'm like, now, if people are greedy with the money they've gotten, well, that's different. If they don't want to help their fellow man, that's different. But I'm like, the universe is literally out here allowing people to be billionaires. The universe is out here printing money, allowing people to be billionaires. That's how abundant it is. It's that abundant that someone could be a billionaire, almost a trillionaire. I don't want that type of money. I think most of y'all don't want that type of money. I think most of us just want to be comfortable. We just want to be financially in a place where we can do the things we want to do. And I'm like, if there's enough for this person to have that much, it shouldn't be that big a deal for me to get what I need to get. And so that's just another way where like I try to take a negative and add a little positive in there to it, even though I think that the whole wealth equality thing is very, needs to be changed. But I'm like, "Bruh, I don't want that much money. The little bit I need to be happy, you know what I mean? The little bit you need to pay the bills and do all the things you need to do and take the trips you want to take and take care of the people you want to take care of. That's nothing. That's nothing. That's easy. And I think it starts with, and I know the next question, people are like, well, how do we get to that? It starts with us believing we can get to it. I think when it comes to money, that is one area where we have the most blocks, where we have the most blocks, we have the most programming, and so many of us feel like we just can't do it. Like we're just destined to have to work our whole life and always be broke. The universe is too abundant for us to be broke. It's definitely too abundant for us to not be actively working on not being broke. But I feel like most of us are, but I feel like we're working at it in the way in which they told us to work at it. I think it starts up here. Like honestly, I think it starts up here. Because once we get this on track, we'll start working towards financial freedom, whatever it is, in the proper manner. Because I think most of us work at it in the improper manner, which is just like work harder at a job you hate, and maybe you'll get, that don't work. That don't work. Lonely Girl TV. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Super Chat Squad. Let me give you a like on that. Thank you. So just so you know, I was not available to be first in your live stream because a needle fell on the floor and I have pets, therefore it's an emergency situation. Okay, okay. All right. I mean, you don't have to be first. I'm just happy you're here. I'm glad you secured that needle, took care of the pets. I hope everyone's okay. I appreciate the love. Um, I just happy you're here. I do love when you're first because it's fun, but please don't feel like you have to, I'm surprised you always top 10, first of the 10. But I appreciate the love, appreciate the support. Thank you. Thank you. Sammy Sam, what up? We're gonna call you that. We're gonna call you that. Hey, Bella Rosa, Tim, you're right on time every time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Manny wants some land where I can harvest my own food. And that's you know what I mean? Like that's another example of like Because I know a lot of whenever you talk about like finances or money, people are like, oh, you're starting to be one of those. It's like, no, maybe I just want enough money to buy some land. It ain't about the money, it's about the land. What it's about is I want a homestead. I want to grow my own vegetables. I want to have some pets. I just need the capital to do that, and I'll be happy. And beyond that, maybe I'll make a little money selling my goats and my chickens. And what kind of food do people grow in homesteads? I was about to say wheat, but I don't think I don't think I don't think people grow wheat to sell. I don't know, but you know what I mean? Like it's not about just like mindless accumulation of wealth. It's about like, okay, what do I want to do? It always goes back to that. Like, what do we want to do? And then realizing like, hey, we can come across the money, the finances we need to do that. It's an abundant universe. The reason so many people are broke is because like other people have done scummy, greedy, dirty things to make keep most people down. But we're playing a different game. Like we're on a higher level. Like we're tapped into divine power. You know what I mean? We can commune one on one with the divine. We're playing a different game. Like we don't have to just stick to the game they're playing that we don't, we don't we're playing a game. The game they're playing, we don't ever get in the game. You know what I mean? We get very little playing time in the game they're playing. But most of us just keep playing it. And whenever someone comes along and recommends a different game, people are like, oh, that doesn't work. That's crazy. That's hippie talk. That's all this other stuff. I'm like, but this reality you believe in, this game you've been playing for the last 25 years, where has it gotten you? You don't ever get in the game. At the end of the season, last game of the season, last game of the season, when you're losing by 50 points, they let us in the game. We can dribble around a little bit, maybe shoot the ball once, maybe get a point. Their game is not working. But the good news is we don't have to play that game. There's higher powers at work here. There's universal law. And I personally believe like abundance is universal law. Like that's why, like, no matter what, like the grass just keeps growing, the sun just keeps shining, trees drop seeds, they grow. You mean all this stuff that just happens naturally is evidence of abundance. It's universal law. If you clear some land and don't do anything with it, weeds will grow back. Well, we call them weeds. Vegetation will grow back. Humans have decided what's a plant and what's a weed. But vegetation, no, you can't. I don't care what you do. If you clear some land and just leave it, things will grow. It's an abundant universe. That's the way it happens. And I just feel like that same level of abundance and those same laws work in our lives if we let them. But we've been taught that like all that stuff is crazy talk. And you got to be realistic when it comes to money. And I'm like, I'm not going to be your version of realistic that just says like, oh, because you were born into a family that didn't have a lot of money, you're not going to have a lot of money, or because you do this, I'm not, because the economy's bad. So I'm like, whenever you ever notice that the economy is never bad for everybody? You ever notice this? The economy is never bad for everybody. There's always some people in the worst economy making lots of money, doing very well. Why can't I be one of those people? Why can't, even in a bad economy, I be okay? Why can't I figure that out? Why can't you? There's opportunities, new opportunities all the time. Why can't I see them? Good economy, bad economy, bleh economy. Why can't I figure all this stuff out that other people have figured out? Who says? At the end of the day, ultimately it's us saying it. Before it was people telling us, right? But like if we stay believing that stuff, it's us saying, I don't believe the universe is abundant enough for me to not be broke. I don't believe God is powerful enough for me to not be broke. That's the way I look at it. I know some people are like, Tim, you getting way out there, but that's the way I look at it. If you're a religious person, a spiritual person, and you believe in a higher power, do you think that higher power, like if you think someone put us on this planet for us to enjoy life, do you think they want us to be broke, to struggle financially? Do you think they want us to struggle in any way? No. Do you think they want us to struggle financially? I don't. So like if there's a force that had the ability to create me and put me here, and I feel like they don't want me to struggle financially, then why would they not be able to help me not struggle financially? You know what I mean? Like, or in a lot of cases, like a lot of religions preach, why would they actively say it's better to be broke? There's a big gulf between like broke and rich. You know what I mean? People act like, oh, there's a lot of scripture. I know people talk about, a lot of scripture about rich man getting to the kingdom of heaven, all this stuff. But I'm like, we ain't really out here trying to be rich. We just trying to be like financially secure. We just trying to be comfortable. We're just trying not to be broke. Maybe some people are trying to be rich, and kudos to them. But like, we just trying to be good. I don't think that's a sin. you know, you know, you know what I mean? Like I don't think that's beyond the divine's power. I'm telling you, I think a lot of it's up here. If you don't think you can do something, you won't do it. I give you an example. And then I'll jump in the comments and read some of what y'all got going on. What do y'all, because it is a discussion. Um, I used to do lawn maintenance and in some nicer areas back in Florida. And so a lot of the homeowners had like the invisible fences for their dogs because they had these nice houses. They didn't want like a fence out front. So they had the invisible fence for the dog. What the visible fence is you put this collar on the dog and then they put like a underground, a lot of times perimeter, or sometimes there would be stakes in the ground. But long story short, when you put the collar on the dog, if the dog tries to go past that area, it gets shocked. So after a while, the dog realizes, oh, if I go past here, I get shocked. And then later, you can take the collar off the dog. You can take the collar off the dog. You can take the stakes off the ground. The dog just knows not to go past a certain point. You know what I mean? It just knows. And you would see, like, we come up in the yard and the dogs would come running, rah, 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 and they would slam on the brakes right before they got to that fence. And the owners would be like, yeah, we turned the fence off last year, but the dogs know. We're like that a lot of times in life with things we're trying to do, especially like finances. We've been taught. And a lot of times we weren't taught. No one came up and told us. We weren't put in a class that taught us the poverty mindset. We've just picked it up from things people have said, from things we've overheard. We picked it up. And we've picked up this poverty mindset, and like, no, like, even if no one is actively telling it to us, even if no one is actively saying it, now that we've got it, we're like the dogs with the invisible fence. We won't rise past a certain money level. A lot of us have seen this in ourselves, myself included. If I start getting to a certain money level, I start getting nervous. I start thinking something's going to happen. I'm going to lose it. You know what I mean? Simply because I've been taught, like, oh, that's you never make that, but you know what I mean? Starting, I'm sure y'all all a lot of us been through this. You start getting a certain amount of money, or if there's a job that's paying a certain amount of money, you won't even apply. We won't even apply because we're like, there's no way I could get that job. I can't make that much money. Totally qualified. Or maybe it's something we think we could do, but then we see they're paying X amount. You're like, oh man, I can't. They wouldn't pay me that much money. We won't even apply. It's the invisible fence. It's the invisible fence. You just have to tell people something enough and then they will start to believe it. And I think that's where a lot of us are, like, financially, is like we won't even we won't even entertain the opportunities that might allow us to, like, make more money and in turn use that money to get the life we want, along with the other tools that we'll be blessed with. We won't even entertain those thoughts because we think they're outside of our reach. It's not for us, it's for rich people, you know? I like that invisible fence analogy. Um, hey, planner, I agree with you. When your heart is filled with being content, it's hard to have a mindset. Agreed. I agree. I agree. And that's why I think when you see contented people, they're some of the most generous people you'll ever meet. And this is another reason why I firmly believe that, like, the divine doesn't mind us having financial abundance, because when we're in the right place, we're going to do good things with it. You know, if I'm struggling and somebody else is struggling, and then I get a bonus at work, I'm not struggling anymore and I can help that person out. You know what I mean? So that's the way I look at it too. Is just like, if you are content, you're at peace, you're a decent person, your abundance is going to be somebody else's abundance, and then their abundance might turn into being somebody else's abundance, and it just keeps going and going and going. So it's just like, how can abundance be a bad thing? You know, or something that is like, oh, I don't want. Well, well, Jason, my thing is this. I think I'll read your comment. You said the money is going to the investors instead of workers. Until that changes, it's not going to be widespread change. I agree with that. Here's the thing, though. I think a lot of times we get a little too big picture. It's like, I know me personally, I can't change that. I can't change that. But like, if I start to, bring, if I can bring abundance into my life, and you can bring abundance into your life, and other, like, I think a lot of this stuff starts on a personal basis. We're not going to be able to change the system, by ourselves. But I just think that, like, and I think a lot of times, since people think they can't change the system, they don't do anything. But I'm like, I don't need to change the system. I'm using the system to break free from the system. I just need to do me. First and foremost, I got to do me. First and foremost, I got to do me. And then if enough of us do us, then we can change the system. But a lot of times, because we know, like, just, you're like, what can I do? The problem's bigger than me. That's why I'm always saying, like, sometimes you have to be selfish. When the plane starts going down, they tell you, put your oxygen mask on first, then put someone else's on who might be struggling. Because if you try to put theirs on first, you might conk out first. So I think there's a lot of times we look at the world, we see these massive problems, and we're just, especially maybe someone not doing as well as us, and it's like, bro, like, sometimes we got to do us first. Sometimes we have to be the example. Sometimes we have to take care of ourselves, get ourselves out of that hole. Then someone looks at us and goes, how did Tim do that? Oh, if Tim could do it, because he's nobody special, maybe I could. You know what I mean? So yeah, I totally agree. But like, I don't think we can. I'm not going to sit around and wait for the system to change, or for greedy people to stop being greedy before I go towards abundance. Angel said, "I'm working on not being broke at work right now. Let's go." Rusty's about to sell all the possessions, move back to South Africa, buy an apartment, be with family. Hey, that's hey, go for it. That's a plan. That's a plan. Let's get it. So that they're starting to, the affordability issue is hitting mainstream news media and outlets. And that is one thing that eventually, yeah, eventually, like they can't let things get too far. That's why I said, like, prices will start coming down in some areas, because if they get too far out there, people totally stop believing. Like, they need people to, like, buy a certain amount, and if people get too broke, they can't buy that certain amount. You know what I mean? And if people just totally stop, when we start talking about buy nut rebellions and stuff like that, they start being like, wait a second. Okay, if here's too high and people start buying nothing, let's bring it down to here, and then they'll start buying again. Okay, so we're still getting, coins in our coffers, but they can't let it get too crazy, because everybody will just be like, we can't afford anything. Then they don't make no more money. You know, nothing but abundance in this earth realm. Let's go, Jeanette. Hey, thank you. Hey, thank you, Saram. Checking in from Paris. Now, I don't want to turn this into. I removed a couple comments just because, like, I don't want to turn this into like a. This is a positive chat. So, like, and I understand venting about, but like, here's once again my thing, and then once again, this is just me and my opinion. Appreciate y'all hitting the like button, by the way. Thank you, Angela, for asking people to do that. My thing is this: like, I don't think I have to wait for them to fix all the problems with our economic system to get financial freedom. You know what I'm saying? Once again, I'm jumping past, and I'm glad when mayors and other politicians and the people get together and figure this stuff out. But I'm jumping past all that, and I'm plugging my plug into, like, divine power. A lot of people's plug is an earthly power. and they're just waiting on the politicians and the people. I've unplugged from that. I'm plugged into divine power. It's an abundant universe, which is bigger than the economy. So I don't care. Like, I like when they make positive change and it gets easier, but like, I don't care what they're doing. Like, I understand. I go to the store and prices are up. I get it, but I'm just like, okay, that's just a stumbling block. Like, that's just an obstacle. That just means of the abundance I'm going to get, maybe a little more as I go to groceries. Like, I'm just trying to look beyond what they're doing instead of just being like, oh, woe is me, this. I'm like, no, bro, like, it's an abundant universe. I'm trying to tap into the universal level. And I know at first it's sometimes hard, but like, I have seen it work so well in my life when I look at things that way. When I spend less time worrying about the human stuff and I just start pondering on, you know, the things that have not changed in this universe. I don't know, my life just seems to go better. The more I talk about abundance and like, I seem to have more money. I don't know. Like, I don't know. So that's why I talk about it. That's what I talk about it. I think a lot of people try to be, and there's nothing wrong with like being practical, but I've noticed like when people do these videos about 10 side hustles to start in 2026, and I've done those videos before, it's like people talk about the same stuff over and over again. And I'm like, everybody can't do drop shipping, right? You know what I mean? So, and I'm like, the best idea, the really good ideas of like how to like make money and things like that, most people keep to themselves, you know? So I'm like, what's something in this arena that we all can do? I think we all can change our mindset. We all can work on going from like a poverty mindset to like an abundance mindset and be like, okay, if I'm not where I want to be financially, why can't I get where I want to be? How are you going to do it? I don't know. It's the same way we manifest anything in our lives. I don't think we need to know from the jump how we're going to do it. We just have to believe we can do it because it's the believing we can't that is holding us back the most, I believe. The economy might play a role, other things play a role. They're stumbling blocks, they're obstacles. But I think that ideal of like we can't do it or it's not possible to do it until the politicians fix everything, that's holding us back, in my humble opinion. Golden Rose preach said, never believed in the term fixed income. I serve a God who has limitless income for me. Hallelujah. I love that. I love that. Let's go. Virginia, Southwest Virginia in the building. What's up? I wish YouTube would go back to the usernames. Like, it's all good though. Bobby, how you doing? Thomas, I've had a few people over the years that I had to kind of pull back from being in a real close relationship with them, but I do try to occasionally still check in and let those people know, still love you. We still, but yes, sometimes you have to pull back from people. Bobby, I'm working for Thanksgiving. Yeah, Derek. I mean, that's the I've said this many times. Like, politicians have no incentive to fix anything because humans have your voting base, your constituents. Humans, we have short memories. So if I'm a politician, I tell you I'm going to fix something and I fix it, you'll be happy, but then you'll be waiting. What have you done for me lately? As opposed to like if I keep telling you I'm going to fix it, you have to keep putting me in office thinking I'm going to fix it. But if I actually fix it, I got to come up with something else to say I'm going to fix. Huh? I know. Like, think about it. Think about this. This hit me one day. I'm like, if I'm a politician and I say, if you elect me, I'm going to fix this, and I do, that's cool. But I can't run on that next term. I can't be like, I fixed the roads. People are gonna be like, okay. I'm telling you, people have short memories. Somebody will come along and be like, oh yeah, he fixed the little roads, but what is he doing about this? People are like, you know what? Yeah. So instead of fixing the roads, I just keep saying I'm going to fix it or whatever it is. Oh, they wouldn't let me fix the roads last time. I was trying, I was fighting. I fixed one road. This term, we're fixing all the roads. And people are like, yeah, he's gonna fix the roads. And then, I don't fix them this time. I fix them. I'm telling you. It's not politicians. Think about the major things that got fixed in our lifetimes or in recent history, the major laws that got changed, anything like that. I promise you, the people got together and caused such a fuss or stink or whatever, or something major happened that hit the news and they had to act. Until like politicians have to do something, they rarely do anything unless it benefits them. Now, if it benefits them, oh, they'll do it first week in office. But when it just benefits the people, notice how long it takes. And it's usually us who like get it done. Hey, Catherine, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Catherine checking in. Because such a powerful message, so true. We'll go back and listen to this again. Great reminder to keep us focused on what is truly important and open to receive what the universe has already given us. I love that. I love that. And thank you so much for the donation to the Freedom Fund. Thank you for the abundance. Thank you. And that is a great way to look at it. Like we've already been placed in an abundant universe. The universe is already giving. We already have it. A lot of it we just got to tap into. Another analogy I love to mention, probably because I order a lot from Amazon, because I'll be out in the middle of nowhere a lot of times. Don't have access to Walmart a lot of times, so I order from Amazon. Uh, if the Amazon person brings a package, right, you still have to open the door and bring it inside, or you still have to go out to the mailbox and bring it inside. If you don't open that door and bring the package inside, that crock pot will sit there until the end of eternity, right? And I think that's what's happening in so many of our lives is like the blessings we're waiting for, they're here. They've we've been the paperwork has been signed. We've been approved for the blessing. We've been approved for like this level of abundance, but we still got to go down there to the bank and pick up the abundance. You know what I mean? We still got to open the door and bring it in. We're sitting in the house, yelling at the Amazon driver. Why is my package not here? It's been out there for 2 days. We just ain't opened the door and looked. I think the same is true with abundance. It's like it's there. But since we've been taught not to believe in it, we never go get it. We never tap into it. So we're just like, oh, this was like, it's there. Open the door. So thank you, Catherine. I appreciate the love. And that was a great comment. Thank you. Thank you. What's for lunch? I had some wings from the other day. I didn't eat any breakfast, and I kind of had brunch. I had some wings and some potato salad um, from the other day. So I'm gonna have a good dinner though. Oh, you was checking out James. You were checking out my links. Well, I was going to get to the part about the spiel about financial freedom and investing, and I put some investment links in the chat. So Acorns is the one. It's been out for a while. Acorns is the one that they do a couple different things, but I think the thing Acorns is known most for is they do like the debit card roundup. So if you link your debit card to your Acorns account, um, and you spend like 97 cents, it rounds everything up to $1 and it'll invest that 3 cents. If it's 48, like every time you have a under $1, whatever if it's $49.53, it'll round it up to $50, and then invest that money for you. So, I mean, you can do it, a recurring investment, you can do one-time investment, but it also does that debit card roundup, which I think is pretty cool. Because these days we're using our debit card all the time, and end of the month you won't even realize that you might have some decent coins stacked in there and invested. What I love about Acorns too is that like you know they do the investing for you. Like when you sign up, you tell them like what you're trying to do, whether you want to take a lot of risk, be very aggressive, blah blah blah. There's a whole questionnaire, and then they set up the portfolio for you. So I kind of like that. I do have my dividend portfolio where I pick the dividend stocks I invest in, but I also have a little account with Acorns. And I like the fact that they pick stuff for me. You can go in there and see what they pick. But you know, I just put money in there and they work their magic. And I've actually been getting a pretty good return. I'll be honest with y'all. I won't say this often. I'll be honest with y'all. I get a much better return off of my Acorns account than my than my dividend portfolio. Like over time, like I get I'm still a novice in picking the dividend stocks. So I'm not mad, but I get a much better return um off my Acorns account. Okay, I was gonna bring that up later. But yeah, I got Robinhood, Link, and Acorns. if you're thinking about getting into investing, which is another way to, I'm a big believer in like, if I worked hard for this money, some of it I put in savings and, it kind of just sits there and you get a little interest. But I'm like, why not invest it and try to make more money, bro? Like, I worked hard for it. Might as well have it work for me. That's what it's one of the things. One of the things. What up, Savannah? See, Savannah said exactly what I said. Boom. If the politician fix what they ran on, they have nothing to say. Exactly. Angela, I noticed that you can't see the subscription count on YouTube channels unless you click on it and look at it. I actually like that. I actually like that, Angela. Um, as I do feel like as a bigger creator, sometimes people will click on your video, and then when they see a large subscriber count, then they view it as a YouTuber, as a content creator. And sometimes that they don't think your message is as genuine because a lot of times it's not. Um, that is something as a bigger creator you struggle with is authenticity because you got to crank them videos out. So I actually like the fact that like someone could click on one of my videos and instead of being like, oh, this guy's got over 200,000, he did, they just watch the video. And if they like it, they subscribe and they have no clue how many other people are subscribed to. I actually like that. I actually like that. Um, I can see some people not liking it, but I kind of like it. Yeah. Monkey, you got to go to Walmart today. It's probably packed up in there. Well, I mean, the TP aisle and the household aisle might not be packed. Hey, they're gonna be on the food aisle. Hey, Bobby, okay, using Acorns investment beginning of the year up to $3,500. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, Monkey, the employers, some of them, because it is possible to find good bosses, good employers, good companies to work for. Um, but a lot of them don't think. Here's the thing. I feel like a lot of companies feel like they have to like use fear to keep you around because they don't believe it's an abundant universe. You know, if you believe, like, if I would like to think, if I was ever an employer, like, I don't want to be own a company with it. If I ever own a company, it's just gonna be me. Like, I don't really want employees. I don't mind, being a leader for another company, but if I have my own company, I don't really want employees. Mainly because of the paperwork. But I would like to think that, like, hey, I want to try to get the best employees possible, and it's an abundant universe, and I can do that. So if when I get employees, I'm gonna try to, I'm gonna compensate them properly, you know what I mean? And I'm gonna do my best by them. And if that's not good enough to keep them, well, then I know somebody else will come around, But I think a lot of employers, excuse me, they try to use fear. Oh, this is the best job you ever get. You better stay here because they're scared that like you'll leave and they won't find anybody. You know what I mean? Once again, it all goes back to just because people get in like higher positions doesn't mean they don't have that same poverty mindset or that scarcity mindset. And that's why you see a lot of, you'll see business owners who are doing well still have a scarcity mindset. And that kind of like, comes down on the employees. But yeah, I've had companies tell me in the past, "Oh, the job market is bad right now. You got a good job here, so like you better do your job." And I'm just like, "Bro, like I don't know. That's not the way. Yeah, that's not the way if I was in a leadership position, I'm going to lead. Like we're not in here talking about the economy. We're talking about this job, getting it done. You give commendation to people when they do a good job. If there's an area where maybe they need to do better, we discuss that. Boom, 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 boom. But it's like we're not out here trying to instill fear in people. Because like I don't want someone working here because they're scared. I want them working here because they like working here. I want them part of the team because they like being part of a team. Not that I got them so scared that like because people like that are always nervous about getting fired too, and like I don't want nervous to get fired people, you know what I mean? Like I don't want that type of energy. I don't like if I've ever been in an environment where like that I had to be like that because of the way like I don't like that type of energy, you know? Christian, I don't think the fact that there's an extreme amount of unemployment, A, we have to qualify, is there actually an extreme amount of unemployment out there? But I don't think that goes against the abundance thing simply because, once again, there's man and the things people do, and then there's the universe and universal law. If I've got a stack of money and someone comes and steals it from me, that doesn't mean the universe isn't abundant. That means that dude was a thief. You know what I mean? If we're coming up with new technologies that like currently are disrupting the job market because people are like using them incorrectly, or if people are being greedy and they're laying people off because they want more profits for the shareholders, that doesn't mean there's not abundance in the universe. That just means people are being greedy. People are making mistakes. People are doing bad business. What I'm saying is we can look beyond that and just be like, if it's an abundant universe, and once again, this is not easy. This stuff is not easy to do. Like changing your mindset is actually difficult to do. That's why I like to talk about it so much so we can get started on it. But it's like, you can be like, hey, okay, got laid off from this job, but it's an abundant universe. So I'm going to still find a way to make the $6,000 a month I need to pay these bills because it's an abundant universe and $6,000 ain't nothing in this universe, especially when there's people who are almost trillionaires. That can be your mindset. That could be your mindset. And I firmly believe somebody with that mindset is going to either get reemployed or like find some way to make that money legally way quicker than someone who just sits back and watches the news about the economy and just, oh, I'll never find another job because there's so much unemployment. Like, that's what I'm saying. We get so wrapped up in this human stuff and like things that other humans are doing that we act like that's more powerful than the universe. That's more powerful than the divine. No, no. But if we stay tapped into that stuff, then we will believe our life goes up and down based on what they do. And you will never be like it's hard to I mean, there's no total security anyway, but like you'll notice the people who seem the most like at peace, at ease, they've kind of transcended the man stuff because they realize what's really going on and that doesn't change. The economy changes, unemployment changes, wages don't really change. You know what I mean? All that human stuff changes. Universal law doesn't. You know, God's love for us doesn't. You know what I mean? So like, you notice the people who are more tapped into that stuff, they be chilling. This other stuff comes and goes. It has nothing to do with what I'm trying to do, what I'm going to do. It might be a stumbling block. It might be a hurdle. It might be a detour, but like, this is what I'm trying to do. You know, I don't know. That's just the way I see it. Appreciate the feedback. Nick, how's it going? Good to see you. Ain't seen you in a while. How you doing? Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of people. Like you can. There's a lot of people who don't seem fearful, but by their actions, you can tell they're very fearful. And I mean, and the goal is to even get people like that to not be fearful. You know, it's not about oh these people. I mean, the goal is to get greedy people to not be greedy. The goal is to get greedy people to understand. Like, there's a lot of people who are greedy because they have a scarcity mindset, and it's never enough because they're always scared. And if you can get those people to see, like, hey, on it, actually, the best way to keep it is by being generous with it. I was watching a video today, and I thought this was amazing. We definitely need more videos like this out there. A lady who was over the moon elated because she just saved $1,000. She was like, at 47 years old. Now, by the way, this video is going to pop up in your feed tomorrow because I'm talking about it. She was like, at 47 years old, the big age of 47, I just saved $1,000. She's like, previously I was never, and she was a single mom, but she was like, previously I was never able to do it. And she was like, let me tell you how I did it. And she broke down things. And one of her tips to how she did it was she was like, I started giving. I started being generous on a regular basis. And she was like tithing to her local church. But she was just saying like one of the best ways to get more is to give more. And I know that's hard to believe, but I think it's just one of those things. The people I know who like consistently have money are the most generous people I know. The people I know who are always like trying to cut corners and like get over on people, they always broke and they always having to cut corners to get over on people. They're always getting in trouble. It's always something. The people I know that are generous, they continue to be able to be generous. So I think, there's a lot of people out there who are greedy because they feel like, oh, if I don't get it now, I'll never. But it's like, no, get some of that, give a little away. Watch how quickly that and more comes back to you. Once again, I didn't set this stuff up. I just, know, getting tapped into it. Monkey, you're using the three strike method. Yep, that's what I counted. They get three strikes. By the way, congratulations on the texts and calls for interviews. Hey, thank you, Nick. Thank you. Yeah, the video's been doing good. It's about time for me to do a new video, but right now I'm in live stream mode. But yeah, the last couple videos did very well, so I'm grateful. Thank you. What you resist will persist. That's enough. Like we have all these sayings, and the old folks be trying to tell us how this world is. They've seen it, and we steady think we know it all. Oh, Golden, you saw that video? Yeah, it was a good video. Oh, Nick spent 3.5 weeks in Thailand and 8 days in Japan. Nice. Back in Cali, have a new girlfriend. God, this man is living life. This man is living life. Almost a month in Thailand. Let's go. And a week plus in Japan. Back in Cali, new girlfriend, bro. Bro, I miss you too, brother. I miss you too. Glad to hear our life is going good. Glad to hear. Especially since like us OGs know there was time Nick was going through it. Nick was going through it. Now just casually world travel. It'll be whatever. New relationship. Let's go, Nick. That's awesome. That is awesome. Glad to hear it. Glad you like the shirt, Delando. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I keep it. This might start being my new thing. Like I seriously considering going back to Hawaiian shirt Timmy. HST. Got a girl from Arizona. Okay. Nick trying to find the next seasonal job. Okay. I know you'll find one. You know that game very well, so I know you'll find one. Yeah, man. It's always cool to reflect back on times that weren't the best for us, especially when we're in good times, you know, because that fortifies us for the next round if it happens again. You know, if we don't think back on those bad times, we may not get that fortification, but like when we can look back and be like, oh man, 2023, boy, I was struggling. Now I'm good. If 2028 rolls around and things get a little dicey, we'll be like, oh, I got through that last one. I'll get through this one. I didn't know. I had no clue how it was going to work out in 2023, and it did. So this one's going to work out too. I think it sucks going through those moments. But it can be a good thing in the future because now like nobody can tell us. We know, like, till you've been through, and we've all our whole life been going through things. But like, there's some things you go through especially as an adult, um, that once you get through them, now you know. It's like, oh, I know. It's one thing for someone to be like, oh, you can get through this. It's another thing for you to get through it and know, like, oh, I know. Especially, sometimes financial stuff is the hardest in the moment. Boy, money stress is rough. Money stress is rough, bro. Like it can, but money stress is rough. But when we can have a time where like we're low financially and then we pick ourselves up, That's so empowering. That's abundance. And I think I was thinking about this before the other day. I think, especially if we came from like a really, low income background, you know how much of a superpower that is in like business? If you've ever been just like low, I mean, there was times when I was eating Totino's pizzas and ramen noodles for dinner. Now, I was spending money on beer. So let's say that, but I mean, honestly, I would spend $4 on a 4 pack of beer and maybe $2 on food. That was dinner. 5, $6. Like, I'm not exaggerating. There was times where I had about $50 for allocated for dinner for the week. You know what I mean? Um, low, low. That was the time when, like, I think the one and only time I didn't pay my rent. I had to call my landlord and be like, I don't have the money to pay rent. I'll have it in a couple weeks. Rough, but like, we came up out of that, blessed to have come up out of that. And I think if you've ever been through situations like that, maybe it's a little easier to take risk because you're like, I've been low, I know how to scrape by. I know how to have very little coins and still make it. So maybe risk isn't as scary to me because if I lose it all, I've been there. You know what I mean? Whereas someone who's always been up, they're terrified of losing it. You know. But I think you can use that. Like, bro, I've been down before. I can take greater risk financially. Because if it doesn't totally work out, okay, I've done that before, and I can come back up again. A lot of people have never been blessed with the luxury of struggle, financial struggle, so they very nervous. A lot of people very nervous. Those of us have been down before, been broke before, been low before. I don't plan on going broke again, but like, and I know Totino's pizzas is about $4 themselves now, but you know what I mean? But it's just like, I feel like that's a power. We don't view it that way. Like, that's a superpower to have struggled in the past and came out of it. Cause like now it's like, bro, I don't ever want to struggle again, but I know I'll come out of it, you know? Oh, Golden, you going to Paris, France next week? Let's go. Nice, nice. Just see, we got world travel going on here. Okay, Blue Fungi, girlfriend's helping you step your game up. Let's go. Nick, I appreciate the feedback. The reason I'm using this white background is there's literally nothing else in the room. So, um, if I'm somewhere else soon where there is a room background, I'll use that. But this is literally a wall. Like, this isn't a screen or a projector. This is literally a wall. So like, there's the wall, there's my chair, and I'm sitting in front of my laptop. So I mean, I could go out and like find some stuff to put behind me, but like, so and until we switch that up, respectfully, it'll just be the white background. But it's not like I put it's just the wall. Like, literally, it's just the wall. Like, it's just the wall. Facts. Not scared of the fall. I hit the ground before. Well, yeah, MH. If the struggle is worse, well then we'll just have to work a little harder to come back up. You know. And of course, like, in the moment, it sucks, but like, it does. We can always have an optimistic mindset. There's nothing that says you can't always be optimistic. There's not a depth level to where you're like, oh, I can't come back from this one. You could be the brokest person on the planet and be walking along, and someone dropped a scratch off ticket, and you scratch it, and it's 10 grand. You know what I mean? That's just an example of like, like, especially when it comes to like financial, like the others. I feel like the other struggles in life are actually, harder. Like, a health struggle is harder, you know, but like a financial struggle, you can be back up in no time. You can go apply for a job and they paying you more than you've ever made before in your life next week. right? So it's like, even if you're like, man, I've never been this low before. Okay, well then this is going to be the best story ever. When I come up out of this one, oh y'all see, y'all gonna see. But I also think like it doesn't do any good to like think with that mindset. Oh, what if my next struggle is worse? Like I'm not trying to struggle again, but if I do, I'm gonna come back up. But like I don't sit around worrying about the next struggle. Because here's the thing, there will eventually be a time where like you never hit that low. Like you will eventually hit a low in life where you never hit that low ever again. Right? One of the lows in life is going to be your lowest low ever. You might have already hit it. My lowest low ever might have been at 20. I don't know. You know what I mean? Eventually you hit that lowest low. So why, you know what I mean? Why would I sit around worrying about the next low, how low it is? I might have already hit the lowest point I'm ever going to hit in my life. Nick, I'm still in Montana, you know. Started back working, so we good. Hey, see you later, Lee. Enjoy your evening. Have fun at work. Facts. The worst thing that happened to you is the worst thing that happened to you. Gringos Media, what up? Thanks, Nick. It was actually it snowed yesterday. And it was kind of, I won't say treacherous walking around, but I almost slipped like twice this morning when I was walking. Um, but then most of the snow, at least on the sidewalks and the roads, melted, so it's okay. Um, but it honestly wasn't that cold. I think it got up above freezing. So I think it was close to the 40s today. When I mean the sun didn't really come out, but when the clouds kind of parted, it wasn't a bad temperature. But yeah, it was really the first day I had to walk around and like do any real walking in like a decent amount of snow, of like ice and snow, and so yeah, yeah, snow like when it actually. I don't mind when it snows. I don't like when the snow starts to melt and then it freezes, and then there's like ice. Like I don't like the ice. Snow's cool. It's the ice that's a problem. Oh, Gerardo, I think there's lots of people who want you afraid, they want you anxious, but that's so they can control you. Fear is a powerful weapon. It's a powerful form of control. So is anxiety. That's why I think that like anxiety is being promoted. We make people super anxious and then we tell them that they're super anxious. And then in a lot of cases, we try to like sell them drugs to cut down the anxiety as opposed to fixing the things that's making everyone anxious. No money in that. Let's make them more anxious. Let's tell them they're anxious, and then let's sell them drugs that are supposed to like keep them from being less anxious, but really don't, or they do that momentarily. So yeah, it's all by design. It's all by design. That's why I just try not to feed into that type of stuff. Like you can want to scare me all you want. Doesn't mean you're going to. People do it constantly on here. What if this happens to you? What if they're like people love trying to scare me? I'm just like, if it happens, it happens. Like I hope it doesn't. You know what I mean? Like, like once you understand that, like, yes, bad things happen, painful things happen. We struggle in life, but we get back up. You know what I mean? Like, you know, green. We kind of talked about that earlier. Um, and one of the things I said was that people, the wealth gap and the expansion between the rich and the poor comes from like greed. It comes from humans being greedy. The universe is on a higher plane than that. You know what I mean? So, example, if I have a stack of money on this table and somebody comes in and steals it, that doesn't mean the universe isn't abundant. It means that like there was a thief in the building. So that's the way I look at like the wealth gap. It's like that is just humans being greedy and exploiting other humans. It doesn't mean that the universe isn't abundant. So my job, as someone who's looking to have all the tools I need to live the life I want to live, and in this current system, money is one of those tools. My job is to figure out a way, despite their greed and despite the games they're trying to play, how to tap into the abundance that is still there. I think you can be plugged into like human stuff, and then you really have to worry about what other humans are doing, or you can be plugged into like divine power, universal power. That's what I'm trying to be plugged into, you know? And I said earlier too, I think the fact that there are people on this planet that are billionaires shows that there's financial abundance out there. I don't think it's right that there's billionaires and then there's other people sleeping on the street at all. But the fact that it is possible for someone to have billions of dollars is a form of abundance. Now, if they were nicer people, they would share that billions with people. And those of us, I think, who are decent people, when we get financial abundance, we give and help our fellow man. But that shows there is abundance, even if it's kind of scummy, in a way, So that's the way I look at it. Peru in the building. What up? Is it Gerardo? Gerardo? Hey, Bobby, I like that. I like that. You know, simple life, simple job, live beneath your means. None that. it's a- the goal is to be comfortable. The goal is to not have to worry about money. That's the goal. Some people want to be rich, cool. But I think for most of us, the goal is just not have to worry about money and have enough of it to do the things we're trying to do. And I think that's definitely possible. That's definitely possible. But a lot of times we don't even think that's possible. Or we focus too much on why it's not possible or why it's not happening, as opposed to focusing on like, okay, I'm gonna make it happen. What's the best path forward to making that happen? As opposed to looking back at all the paths we went down that didn't work. Hey, thank you, DJ Z. Thank you. Yeah, Astro. You said you're 45, finally learning to just go with the flow, but you get triggered when other people are anxious and worried. But I think the best way to help other people be less anxious and worried is for them to like see our example, you know? Because like you said, it affects you when you see them. The opposite is true too. It might affect you negatively kind of when you see them, but them seeing you at peace affects them positively. So I think the best way to like help the people who are anxious and triggered is for them to see you just chilling, at peace. And a lot of that I think does come with age. Um, Fortunately. Um, you know, but like, yeah, I think sometimes we forget that like, oh, I'm helping these people by living the way I'm living. Hey, deliverance. Good luck on the treadmill. Thanks, Nick. Appreciate you asking people to hit like the stream, Nick. We almost at 100. We about what 20 22 short? Would that be 20? Yeah, 22 short. We almost there. We getting there slowly but surely. Oh, gravity. I think the people who I don't really care who cares or who doesn't care about me. Like I know the people who care about me. If that you know what I mean? Like I think most people are good, decent people in the world, but like I don't expect them to care about me. Like if they don't know me, and I don't expect everyone who knows me to care about me. My friends care about me. My people I consider family care about me. My loved ones care about me. My real blood family cares about me. So like that's as far as it needs to go for me. Just like I care about humanity in general. I love everybody, you know. I mean, I like everybody, but I love everybody as a fellow human. But like, I can't care about every single individual. But I care deeply. Um, Overall, I care, but you know what I mean. Like, I can't be in everybody's life. So like, I don't expect everybody to care about me. I'm just feel blessed that like I have people I know care about me and I care about them, you know? Um, and yes, yeah, people definitely treat you differently if you have money. People treat you differently if you're pretty. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to sit here and pretend that like people treat you differently if you're smart. You know, depending on what attributes you have or don't have, or what blessings you have or don't have, people will treat you different. Like I mean, that's just the way it is. We all treat people different. You know, if you're at a job in customer service and somebody comes in looking crazy, you're gonna treat them different than if somebody walks in a nice three-piece suit, speaking, perfect diction. You're gonna treat them different. You know, you might treat both of them civilly, but there's gonna be a different interaction. You know, my thing is this: as long as you treat everybody civilly, I don't really get too worked up about. Because my thing is this too. Okay, if I'm worried that like people treat you better if you have money, if that's something that's really a big deal to me, I want to be treated that way. Well, find a way to get the money. I don't, you know, if you want to be the person walking in with the three-piece suit and the nice watch, find a way to get the three-piece suit and the nice watch. It's an abundant universe. Like, that's the way I look at it. Hey, Amanda, thank you. Same to you. Facts, charity, food banks, and there's a lot of people that I know there's wealthy people who don't publicize it, but they do a lot of charitable work. Um, you know, there are people who write one check uh, this month that is gonna, dollar wise, be more charitable than all the money I'm gonna give my entire life. You know what I mean? So like, I think sometimes we demonize wealthy people, and there are a lot of them out there who help a lot of people. You know, um, they recognize it's a blessing, they recognize it's abundance, and they help a lot of people. We just may not know about it. Then there's a lot that don't, I mean, or do very little, but there are a lot of people who do. Hey, 5571. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. How are you? Having a good day. Can't complain. Phoenix, I agree. You change your inner world, you'll change your outer world. I've seen that my life, so many other people's lives. But I mean, that's why I keep talking about this stuff. But, hey, Victor, if you want 10 mil, go for it. I don't know. You know me. I'm not no matter what we're talking about. If you're like, oh, I want to live in a van, travel the world, I'm gonna say go for it. I want to visit 157 countries, go for it. I want to write a book, go for it. You know, I want to have an emu farm in Ecuador, go for it. I want $10 million, go for it. Like I don't care as long as it's genuinely what you want, go for it. I feel like the money one a lot of times is not genuinely what we want. We've just been taught to mindlessly go after money. So that one sometimes I'll ask people a couple questions. What are you gonna do when you get the money? And a lot of times they'll tell you then what they're really trying to do. Um, and a lot of times it might not take as much money as they think, which is great because then it's like, oh, you don't have to get millions of dollars. You just need a couple 100,000, whatever. Um, there's other ways to do it. But yeah, if that's your dream, go for it. Like, why, do you? Hey, love you too, Angela. Take care. Blue fungi, yeah, wants off-grid property, a millie, could grow your own food. Yeah. And that's a good point too, Green. There was a time when they were talking about job creators, but there are some people who help a lot of people by having businesses and creating jobs, especially if they're like good employers. You know, all bosses are not bad. All companies are not bad. It is possible to find good bosses, find good management, find good companies. All companies are not run by greedy people. There are lots of companies that like, I got a good friend who every time he talks about starting a business or starts it, he's like, I want to do this to help people. I'm gonna make my coins. But like, I want to do this to help people. I want to hire this type of person. I want to hire this type of person. Maybe this type of group doesn't have as many opportunities around here. I'm going to help them out. I think there's a lot of people who do that, but they're not going to publicize that. The news ain't gonna pick that up, except like maybe in a 30-second news segment, 2 seconds, 30 seconds in a 30-minute news segment, 30 seconds at the end, they might be like, oh, and so company, they'll put a little feel good piece at the end of the news. 29 minutes is all doom and gloom. That last minute, a little feel good piece, but everybody's tuned out by then. But yeah, people don't talk about that. You know, people don't talk about that. I agree, Stacy. Abundance is already there. Abundance is already there. You know, we gotta tap into it. McKinley, how you doing? Hey, Patrick, nice. See, Patrick got the back. I'm doing good, by the way, and congratulations on getting your back pay. We knew it was coming. We knew it was coming. Yes, yes. I'm glad. I'm glad. I'm glad. I didn't even know the shutdown was over. So, I'm glad. I'm glad it's over. I didn't even know when it started. I just halfway through, people was like, the government shut down. I'm like, when they do that again? Actually, that was my first. I was like, again? They're like, yeah, they do it all the time now. But I'm glad you got your back pay. Most importantly, I'm glad you got your coins. They owed you that. You want to date Asia Wilson, Bobby? Okay. I mean, hey, go. I seen her in person several times. You know, go down there to Vegas and you know, be courtside and shoot your shot. I mean, slide in her DMs. You know what I mean? You have the ability to attempt to date Asia Wilson, right? There's probably a million guys out there and girls who's like, man, I'd love to date Asia Wilson. Have probably never slid in her DMs. Not saying it's gonna work. I'm just saying that's an example of like we might really want to do something, but we don't because we're like, oh, that'll never work. Somebody's dating her. I'm assuming. I don't know. I don't know. I just if you want to do it, go for it. Try. What up, Antoinette? Hey, no problem, Megan. Glad you're enjoying it. Lady E Portland. By the way, I love that name. And I'm glad you found the channel too, found the community too. Thank you. Thank you, Antoinette. Same to you. I don't celebrate Thanksgiving, so I won't say happy Thanksgiving back, but I'll always say, same to you. First, let me read your question, Gravity. He said, is it a good idea to have kids in this world with all the inflation and problems with climate change going on? I mean, Buddha literally said life is suffering, so kids are literally going to go through pain. First, this is one of my things, so I have to address this. That is one of the quotes that bothers me the most because I think you have to put in some research to really know what the Buddha was talking about. I don't think Buddha was saying life is suffering. Um, like you have to put in some there has to be a level of understanding to like break down what he actually meant when he was explaining all of that. Because that's not a very enlightened thing to say to just be like life is suffering. It sucks. There's a lot more to it. In my humble opinion, that's not what the Buddha was saying. Now the first part of your question. I think if you really want to have kids and you can afford them, have kids. I mean, there's lots of people right now having kids who aren't the slightest bit worried about taking care of them. This summer, I was working up an area, a lot of high net worth individuals. They wasn't worried about taking care of their kids. And I know there's a lot of people who aren't high net worth who've like gonna do what they need to do to take care of their kids. So like, if you really want kids, now you might say, okay, right now we're just gonna have one instead of two or whatever. But like, I don't think we always have to look at the world around. Like, you take it into consideration, but I don't think you should be if you really want kids, that it has to necessarily be a no because of inflation. Like, that would be horrible to not be a parent because of inflation if you really want kids. Because that's just my outlook on everything is like, if you really want to do something, go for it. Go for it. You really want to be a parent? Go for it. Figure it out. There's millions, billions of parents out there taking care of their kids. You're going to stop on what people tell me is one of the most beautiful things you can do because of inflation. Like, not to mention, like, inflation is going to change soon, right? Don't be talking about deflation in a couple of years. Watch, So that would be my take on it. Hey, Rebel, how you doing? You miss all the shots you don't take. Facts, facts. Lady, I mean, I definitely think social media can be helpful, but I think you can be successful without it. I mean, people networked successfully for how many thousands of years without social media? I mean, you could make that a selling point, you know, for to whatever you're trying to do is like, hey, I network face to face. I call people. I don't just DM people. I don't text people. I call my clients. I call my business associates. I call my customers. You know, the people I deal with, I want to see them face to face. We meet at coffee shops. You know what I mean? Like you could take that, which a lot of people would think was a negative. It's like, oh, you're not on social media, and you can make it a positive. You know, I think when we and we all do this, but when we start with, oh, like when we know what we want to do or what we don't want to do, and then we start with feeling like, oh, that's what's going to stop us from being successful, then we've already, you know, decided we're not going to be successful. But I think we can be like, okay, this is what I want to do, and I don't want to do it in this manner. How do I make it work then? And a lot of times, yeah, we can spin it and like make that the positive, you know. Do business with me, it's more personal, you know. Just a thought. Hey, I like that attitude, Astro, Instead of demonizing the CEO, be like, hey, hope he has an amazing life. Yeah, no. That's his or her blessing. Like that's somebody's blessing, Now, if on the back end of that they're a scummy person, well, I can't do nothing about that. But like, or they have scummy behavior, I should say. But like that's somebody's blessing. They might have worked hard for it. It ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm trying to be worthy of my blessings. The most important thing I learned as I got older, Yusuf, yeah, I don't as I've mentioned in the past, I don't do a lot of most, best, favorite. Like I don't look at life that way. Um, you learn lessons. I don't know if one sticks out to me as the most. I don't think my life isn't set up that way. They're like one thing's the most important thing ever. Um, I'm constantly learning lessons. Honestly, a lot of times, like I'm constantly relearning lessons. Like I'll learn a lesson and I'll know it, and then like something will happen, and I have to like reaffirm my belief in it. I have to kind of low key relearn the lesson. That's what seems to happen to me a lot. It's not like I learn a lesson and like now it's all good, or I learn one thing and I'm like, oh, I mean, it's all connected. That's what I found in life too. It's all connected. So I learned something here and it helps me here and it helps me there. So it's like impossible for me to be like, oh, this is the most important lesson ever. Nah, like it's all connected. So, but I do a lot of relearning lessons. Dreams have risk. Yeah, yeah, but that's what makes it so fun when we achieve them, is that, like, we took the risk. A life with no risk is pretty a risk-free life is what are we doing? You know? I think that's why we have dreams, to give life some meaning, to give us something to go after. Like, if you're not willing to take any risk, like, bro, like, what are we doing? Like, why am I here? Hey, Gringos Media, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Coming through with the Canadian cash. Thank you so much. Let me give you a like on that. So hold on. There we go. Stay blessed. Enjoy the rest of your day, Tim, and everyone. Take it light. Hey, we take it as it comes. We take it light. Yeah, So thank you, Gringos. Enjoy the rest of your day too. I appreciate the love. Super Chat Squad. Appreciate the Freedom Fund donation. And yeah, have a good day too. Thank you. Yeah, Nick said that handshake business. I'm telling you, you're going to start seeing more people be like, "Oh, we only do business face to face." That's going to be the new thing. Yeah, we put our phones away. We sit down at a table. We go out and play golf. We do business face to face. Especially the more AI, the better AI gets. Yeah, people will start doing more business face to face. Actually, I think we just came up with a really good business idea. I'm gonna look back. Somebody's gonna come in a live stream 2 years from now and be like, Tim, remember we was talking about that face-to-face business? I took that and ran with it. Now I got the biggest plumbing business in Topeka, Kansas. I don't know. Lene, how you doing? How you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. How's everybody doing? England checking in. What up, Ryan? Ryan checking in from England. England's not checking in. Well, England is checking in through Ryan, but Ryan's checking in from England. Rotherham. I don't know. The cities and towns in England just sound so cool compared to like our American cities. I don't know. Maybe they're not. Um, Rotherham could be a slum. I don't know. I'm just joking. It just sounds nice. Sounds, which I'm sure some American cities sound nice to other people, but I don't know. Cities in England always sound, these cool names. It's like it's not a city, it's a township. I don't know. I don't know what that means. Okay. Hey, Lady in Portland. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Super Chat Squad. Appreciate that love. So keep up the good work, Tim. You're an inspiration. Plus, I know you're helping a lot of individuals by sharing your ideals. Thank you. And we definitely gonna keep going. There's a lot of work to be done, but like I said, it is the biggest reward. The cash is awesome, but it's and thank you. But the biggest reward is like when someone comes like, hey, you were one of the reasons, that like I was able to switch this, do that. Like you see somebody like genuinely happy and they're like, hey, it was a couple of your videos that kind of got me on that path or whatever. Like that's the bro, like that's the ultimate. So we just keep going. People did it for me. So I'm just trying to return that favor. And I appreciate that love, that abundance. Thank you. I'm abundance right here in the form of super chat. Let's go. Thank you. Golden said, my key to my blessings is to honor God and others, have blessed others who possess what I wanted in my life and now have obtained those desires. Never been jealous or envious person. Facts. You know, I think, and I'm not somebody who demonizes social media, but the constantly seeing other people, I think it makes it easier to get envious and jealous because it starts seeming like everybody. Back in the day when you only ran into the people in your town, you might see one person with, one or two people. But like when you see so many people, and a lot of them are faking it, it's easy to just be like, dang, I want that. You get jealous. Why don't I have it? But yeah, when you can see it as that's that person's blessing. I think gratitude helps in this. I think having a gratitude practice where you routinely think about what you're grateful for and think about the blessings you already have makes it easier to be like, oh, that's that person's blessing. You know, I may want that blessing too, or I may want to achieve that. It might be a dream of mine. I don't have it yet, but like that person has been blessed with it. I'm not jealous. I'm not I'm happy for them. I got lots of stuff that like other people want. And like, I don't want them, I'm a decent dude. I don't want them like putting jealous, hateful energy towards me because what I got, I would like them to be like, oh, that's Tim's blessing. So when I look at other people who got what I got, and it's not always easy to do. Something I've had to work on, but it's just like, that's that person's blessing, you know? How can I say like, I believe in God and the divine and an abundant universe. And then when God, the divine, the universe acts positively in somebody's behalf, I get mad. You know what I mean? Like that's crazy. It's like, no, like I'm happy that person is doing what they're doing. And if I'm trying to do it too, well, maybe here's a blueprint. How did they do it? Let me learn from them. Like I'm not gonna hate. I think it's easy to fall into that if we don't catch ourselves. But I like, no, man, that person. If somebody's up, I'm glad they're up. Show me how you got up. You know what I mean? For real. Hey, McKinley, thank you. Super Chat Squad, thank you so much. I appreciate that love, that support, that donation to the Freedom Fund. Yes, thank you so much. Sorry, it took me a while to get down there to it. I was going in. Oh, mad. Sorry to hear you're mad all the time. Which is kind of ironic since that's did you your username mad because you've been being mad or like that's something totally different. You asked what I would do in that situation if I was finding myself mad all the time. Probably meditation. Would probably be where I started. Meditation, long walks in nature. I would try to tap into whatever things calm me down. And then I would try to see was there something that changed in my life that made me mad. It could be something, outside, or it could be something internal. Maybe it's some type of chemical reaction or something, in which case maybe, consulting a physician, something like that. But first I would just try to calm myself down and then see if there's something I can change that, you know, might change that. Maybe diet, maybe the amount we're working. I don't know. Like I would just try to see, backtrack it. When did I start getting so mad? What's going on? But yeah, I know for me, I would try to, walks in nature, meditation, um, listening to a lot of stand-up comedy. So I know that makes me laugh. I would just try to do things that put me in a better mood and just see if that could correct it. But sorry to hear that. By the way, prayer. We're gonna say prayers for you in that when this is done. Um, we're gonna put positive energy towards you getting back in a better mood. John just got off work and it was payday. Okay. Bananas. Thank you. Thank you. Same to you. Glad you're enjoying the content. What about Birmingham? Well, Birmingham is a city in America too. That's why it doesn't sound good. Thank you, lady. And thank you again, Bananas. J Love, we keep it positive. We keep it positive. What's the the other option? Keep it a negative? That don't work. Would I ever become a pen pal with a subscriber connected with? It depends. Cloud, it just depends. Like if I met someone and it worked out that way, cool. I don't know if I would go into a situation looking for a pen pal, but like, I'm if I meet somebody, whatever comes from it comes from it, So if that's what ended up happening, cool. But I don't know if I would go into a situation looking for a pen pal. But Banana said they'll be your pen pal. Fernando checking in. Glad you liked the I'm done video. Thank you. Yeah, no, I don't really celebrate things. I'm just working tomorrow, so I've been ready. I'm ready for Thanksgiving to come and go. I'm ready for all the holidays to come and go because I don't celebrate them. I mean, I am ready for that time and a half down there to the job. So, but for like I don't. The holidays are more of an inconvenience for me than anything else. So, Manchester checking in. Let's go. What up, Harry? Okay, nope, 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 nope. We're not doing that. Nick, I don't do favorites, so I don't have a favorite food and drink. Him Financial, what up? I like that name. Ooh, Sheena's using ChatGPT to create an integrity audit. I like that. I'm intrigued. What's an integrity audit? I like that. I don't know what it is, but I like it. I like it. Let's go. Let's know how it goes. Bald eagle, no. Abundance and minimalism is not contradictory. Not at all. Not at all. If you want abundance, doesn't mean I'm no, no. Um, Minimalism, majority of the time when people are talking about minimalism, they're talking about like possessions. Um, and that's the main thing like I'm talking about. When I talk about minimalism, I could have the ability to have an abundance of possessions. I just don't want them. So that doesn't mean, we can have it like, for example, say I go to apply for a job and I have 10 jobs and I just take one, you know, that's the same, you know what I mean? Like that doesn't mean that like there wasn't an abundance of job offers. I had an abundance of job offers. I had 10 offers. I took one. I still have an abundance of job offers. So like and honestly, if you really think about it, in order to be a minimalist, that means that like you had more or had the opportunity to have more and you didn't want it. So that shows there's abundance. I mean, minimalism almost points to abundance because it's just like, oh, I could have done so much more. I didn't want to. I'm happy with this. You know what I mean? So like just because I have very few possessions doesn't mean I wasn't blessed with the ability to like have more. I might have took that money and invested it, or I might have took that money and donated it, or I might be saving it, you know? So it's just I almost feel like ever since I became a minimalist, that put me more on the path to abundance because like like consumerism is almost like about scarcity. Consumer is just buy, gotta get, gotta get, gotta get, gotta get, gotta get. There's a lot of FOMO and a lot of this other stuff when it comes to like consumerism. Minimalism seems more tied into abundance because you're just like, I'm good. And I know I'll be taken care of. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like it's the two and it's hard to explain it, but in my head, like, yeah, minimalism and abundance go together. Minimalism has allowed me to see the abundance because for one thing, like if we're talking financially, like we are today, I have way more money since I've become a minimalist. So I understand like it is possible to like have savings and be able to invest. Whereas like if you're blowing all your money, it doesn't seem that way. If you're living paycheck to paycheck because of bad financial decisions, that a lot of time is brought on by like buying possessions you don't need or buying a bigger house than you need or a new car every year, the universe doesn't look abundant. But when you cut back on all that, you see the abundance. You're like, oh, it's been here the whole time. I just wasn't plugged into it. So, nah, minimalism has allowed me to see the abundance. Clint Perry, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Super Chat Squad. Speaking of abundance, and good to see you. Good to see you too, my friend. I appreciate the love, the continued support, the donation to the Freedom Fund. Thank you, Clint. Hope you're enjoying your Wednesday, going into Thursday, the holiday Thursday. That's a good question, though, Bald Eagle. Tiana said minimalist can minimize rooms. I don't know if that. Yeah, I guess. I don't know exactly what you mean there, but yeah, we can do that. Right? Yeah. The holiday tip celebrations every day. Facts. Wally. Yeah, no. Sorry to hear that. Busting your butt 6 days a week, only to save a little at the end of the month. Um, I get it. Tiring at your wits end. Do you think gig work will come back around? Think gig work will come back around? Can you be my mod on Twitch? I don't know. Like if I ever even really get on Twitch, we'll see. We'll see. as I mentioned before, I'm very. I've had this channel how long, and Angela's been the only moderator. Like I'm very picky about stuff like that. So we'll see if I ever really get started on Twitch. Bald Eagle wants to. I can see that wanting to go to one of those big Christmas parties. It seems like a vibe. The big tree and the eggnog and the gingerbread cookies. Yeah, people still do it. I'm sure they do. You got to get some rich friends. You got to find a. So you got to find someone else who has a family like that and like tag along with them. Can we be friends around Christmas? So I can come to your family's Christmas party. Hey, thank you, 5571. Yeah, I think if people take the time to spend time with you and try to talk with you, you should, try your best to interact. And I mean the energy I get is, from communicating with everyone is amazing. So that's why I keep doing it. Canada in the building. The Meister. Start. What question do I have for y'all? I don't know. If one pops up, I'll ask it. Wings, fried, baked, or grilled. Fried. I can do any of them. I can, I can take my wings either way. Hey, love you too. Oh, it depends on everyone's market. Okay, got you. Yeah, Wally. Like you know, I get we get overwhelmed, things happen, uh, but it's just like I try the positivity. I mean, it's the best route. You know what I mean? Especially when we always aren't gonna know how we're gonna get to where we're trying to get to. The day's going to come when you're not working 6 days a week, busting your butt to save a little. The days are going to come back around when you're up. We don't know how that's going to happen right now. Maybe you got an inkling, maybe an idea, but until it actually happens, we're not sure. But we know, you know what I mean? And that's the outlook I try to have with like everything. I don't know when I'm going through this, how I'm going to overcome the situation. I know I will one day. So I'm focused on that. That helps me to get to that. Because if I just stay focused on like the negative and what I'm going through, like then I'm really going through it. But if I'm just like, yeah, this sucks, you know, but I'll get through it. Something's gonna give eventually, and I'm gonna be back to whatever it is I'm trying to get back to. Then that gives me something to look forward to. There's a positive on the end of that negative, as opposed like I think a lot of times we just put negatives on the end of the negative. We just have a negative with a period at the end. But I like to, if I may discuss a negative situation, and it's cool because like most of my friends now, we'll talk about something, and we're almost beating each other to saying, but it's all going to work out. You know, so many of my friends now are on that same level of understanding that when I talk to them or they talk to me, it almost always ends with, yeah, but it'll work out. You don't have to worry about it. And then we call each other when it does. Yeah, that worked out. Oh, I knew it would you know which is cool to have friends like that because like it lessens the stress on them, but it also lessens the stress on me. You ever been stressed out because your friend was going through something? Like you love them, friends, family, loved ones, you love them. So when they going through something, you stress, especially when you can't help. But like having friends that were on that same wavelength of like, oh, it's gonna work out. It sucks right now. I got you, bro. I got you, sis. If you need me any way I can help, but we both know it's going to work out. It's a lot less stressful of a friendship because you leave off. You're like, all right, I know it's going to work out for you. Just let me know how. Let me know when. It's kind of cool. Kind of cool. Nope. We're not doing that. Nope. No politics. Hollis, what up? Did I stream yesterday? Did I stream? Maybe I did. Did I stream yesterday? I'm not sure. Was that yesterday? The days run. Yeah, it was yesterday. Yesterday morning. Oh, nice, Hollis. Hey, good night, man. We got them prayers lined up for you. The craziest things I did in my 20s, Kevin, I wasn't really too wild out there. We just got drunk and just did a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? I mean, nothing too, I mean, I don't know. We just got drunk and did crazy stuff. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't. It's hard to pick up the craziest because you say it, and people are like that ain't that crazy. But like, we just do silly, dumb stuff. We just crazy. We used to like to. Here's an example of not wild, but just fun, crazy. We used to like to ghost ride the whip, right? There was a song that came out back then talking about ghost riding the whip, which basically meant that like you'd be driving kind of like a back street or in the neighborhood. Um, and I was never the driver, so I don't know exactly how you do it, but you can do something to the car to where like it'll just keep driving by itself, right? Everybody just jumps out. So we would do that a lot. We'd be drunk and we'd be driving to the neighborhood, music going, and we would be like, "Ghost ride the whip," and everybody would jump out the car, and we would just run around the car dancing while it was driving itself. So nothing we loved more. Nothing we love more. Like if we ever met some new girls, you know what I mean? Like if we met some new females who didn't know us, because the ones who knew us, they knew. Here go these idiots, goes riding the whip. But like if they didn't know us, no, nothing we like better than just like picking them up and we go on for a ride, and then all of a sudden we'd be like, "Ghost ride the whip," and we always we always just jump out the car, and they would be like, "What?" Because the car is still go. Oh man, they would be terrified because the car. I mean, the car's not going that fast, but we would just be like, "Ghost ride the whip." We'd all jump out and just start dancing and running around the car, craziness. And 8 out of 10 times the car would eventually like veer off into the curb, stuff like that. That was the type of like it wasn't nothing wild, nothing like dangerous, but like we just did a lot of crazy stuff, which is actually I think why you know women kind of like to hang out with us because like we wasn't the dudes doing the. I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong, the bad boys was getting women too, but like you could hang out with us, and we was just like we'd have some fun. We gonna drink, we gonna whatever, but like it would just be fun. Like he wasn't going to prison, he wasn't going to jail hanging out with us, but still we wasn't the uptight dudes who just sat at home and watch sport. We was outside, but like I don't know, just we used to do we used to do dumb stuff like that, bro. I don't know. Yeah, my 20s was a lot of fun, man. Yep, so you can have fun in your 20s safely for the most part. Any particular video I'd recommend for a new sub? I don't know, lady E Portland, just because everybody's different. You know what I mean? So like the video I might think is like, yeah, the average new subscriber might be like, you know what I mean? So I just let the algorithm do that. The algorithm is way better at that than me. So if you click on one of my videos, the algorithm will recommend the ones it thinks you're gonna like the best. So that is the beauty of the algorithm. It knows way better. Monkey, I think that is something we lose, that ability to just hang out, just plop down on the couch, talk to your boy, like it don't have to be, any special occasion. Hey, Bald, I love that. Bald Eagle, I love that. Kept kept grinding, it paid off. And that's the thing, like we a lot of times, and I don't know your exact situation, but I think society, sometimes our life ain't even that screwed up. But we get to a certain age and we got certain things going on or we don't, and we're just like, oh, it's over. You're like 33. You're like, it's over. I've screwed my life for good. And it's like, bro, like, no, that's the programming. They want us to think that. So then we just like give up, submit, you know. But it's just like, no, like we may have some major obstacles to overcome. But you, like you said, you look back 7 years later and like, I'm up. Like I'm good. Like that was a different person. That was a different life. So yeah, it's that's why I love positivity. I love optimism. It doesn't have to be rooted in logic. Your life could be a dumpster fire right now. And you can put it out, clean it up, And I was trying to think of a good dumpster analogy, but you end up putting trash in a dumpster, so that one failed miserably. But you know what I'm saying? Like your life could look totally different 2, 3 years from now. Even if you're like your life is crazy right now, 5 years from now, it could be a totally different life. Like we all know people like that who's like, well, that person in the past, bro, I thought it was over for so and so, and like they're an amazing parent and great job, just doing well up. He's like, man, last time I saw her, whew, it's possible. There's nothing that says we can't fix our life if there's some issues right now, and I think that's not always easy to hold on to, but I think that's why we have to share stories like yours. So thank you for sharing, and like we have to talk about it because like it helps. Because a lot of times all we get is the negative messaging of like, you're a piece of trash, you're not good enough, you're a bad person, you're a monster. It's like, bro, there some monstrous people? Yes. Are most of us them? No. You know, most of us are not monsters. The things we do or the things we're so down on ourselves about, everybody else is doing them. It's part of the human condition. You're not a horrible person. The fact that like we do things and then we feel bad about it lets us know we're not a horrible person. We're not a psychopath. We're a psychopath. We wouldn't feel shame. And a lot of them don't feel shame because it's a mental illness, you know? Um, but like, yeah, it's we could have a totally different life a few years from now, if we don't give up. Hey, Alvin Anthony, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Super Chat Squad. I thought that was you. Thank you, Alvin. Good to see you. Appreciate you donating to the Freedom Fund. Thank you for the continued support, the continued abundance. Hope you're having a good Wednesday. Thank you, Alvin. Lene driving around doing gig work with the kids. Your 4-year-old says, my name's not Mr. Tim, it's Tim Hawk. I'll take that. Since I know you, I'll take that. I'll be Tim Hawk for the rest of the stream. Timmy H. Okay, sorry. Okay, I'm curious as to where that came from, but I take that as a compliment. Hawk is a powerful name. I'll take that. I'll take that. I see you out there hustling today. I see you teaching the kids the work ethic. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah, the wheel alignment has to be on point to Ghost Ride the Whip. Yes. Yes. Yeah, we're definitely showing our age with that one. Yeah, 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 yeah. That was so you should be able to like laugh about your 20s. I think that's the thing. Like what was I a mess back then with the drinking and stuff? Yeah. Did I have some bad nights? Yeah. Did I have some expensive, some some costly nights? Yeah. Was there some drama? Yeah. Um, but I can look back and like laugh. We had a lot of fun, man. So. The American Dream video hits hard. Yeah, that was a classic. I mean, I feel like there's some Tim Ward classics. That was a classic. I think that was my first. I think that was my first video to really get a lot of views you know, I had other videos get more views, but like over a longer period of time. But I think that was one of the first ones that really kind of like, I don't ever use the word viral because I think it's overused, but I think that was one of the first videos that if I were to use that word, kind of did that. Yeah. Oh, you said what I think of starting vlogging? You mean for you or for me? For me, I'm not a vlogger. I try to vlog. I'm not a vlogger. But for other people, I say go for it. I think anyone who's thinking about doing social media, go for it. It's not too late. And the rewards, if it works out for you, can literally be life changing. You know what I mean? Especially like if you stick with it on a platform like YouTube and you get monetized, then there's each month there's different earning potential. Average you might not make that much, but like, 1 month you might just get one that hits and then you up, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I'm all for, or you just might like sharing your story with the world. You might just want to show people your life. Like people love to watch vlogs, and I love watching vlogs, especially like travel vlogs. I like watching travel vlogs of places I've already been. I watch a lot of like Portland travel vlogs and Denver travel vlogs. I don't like watching vlogs of places I haven't been yet because then I'll see stuff I haven't seen. I like seeing it and then watching it because I've already seen it, already been there. I'm an interesting person, but Tim Hawk is an interesting dude. You know what I mean? Timmy H. But yeah, if you start, the beauty of vlogging, you can do it with your phone. You can do it with your phone. You know, try it out. Saved by Grace, what up? Volunteering for local shelter tomorrow. Nice, nice, nice. Have fun. That's awesome. J Love, they used to play quarters, open chest. I never played open chest. I'm a thin man, you know. I'm a thin man. It don't take much to cave this chest in. So I never play in any of the hidden games. I used to do like people like hitting on the arm and stuff. Because I got very bony hands. So like when I would hit people, it would hurt. But yeah, open chest, no, I'm good. I'm good. Hey John, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Super Chat Squad, thank you so much, John. Said I'm digging that shirt. You looking good, Tim. Thank you. We Hawaiian shirt, Timmy. We trying to thank you. Yeah, I really like this shirt. I might start rocking these on the daily. You know. Thank you, John. Appreciate that love. Super Chat Squad, thank you for the continued support in abundance. Thank you. Keep telling us abundance. Phoenix, I'm so glad to hear that. Said I always leave these live streams feeling better. That's the goal. That's the goal. So I'm glad that we're achieving the goal with you. Kevin, I'm a big believer, man. Like have fun while you're young. Now do it responsibly. No, there's consequences for actions, but like have fun. People so quick to you need to be this. Have fun. Yeah, no, I'm telling you, you want to be you want to be the middle-aged man or middle-aged woman looking back at your 20s with like a chuckle. Like, bro, we was out of control. We was OD. It was wild. Like we was nuts. You don't want to be the one looking back with regret. You don't want to be the one at the table when everybody telling their 20 stories who just you know late at night when you looking at young people's Instagram. Don't act like people don't act like we don't in middle age, and you don't want to be like, dang, I didn't do none of that. You don't when you're 45, you don't want to be jealous of 25-year-olds who are living their life because you didn't do it when you was 25. You know, get out there, do some stuff. Get out there and make some mistakes while you're young enough to like correct them with no with no ramifications. Like there's a reason when you're young you want to do a lot of this crazy stuff. I don't think that life put those emotions and feelings and hormones in us for us to like not act on any of them. There's a reason a lot of stuff that seems a great idea when you're 23, that later you're like, when you're older, you're like, yeah, I would never do that. But like at the time, I think that's how we learn. You got to go through some of this stuff. You got to get some of it out your system. I don't believe in like midlife crises. I don't, well, I believe that you can get to midlife and have stuff start happening. I don't like the midlife crisis. I don't like the language, the wording crisis. They're always trying to scare us about midlife. I got a video coming about it. They're always trying to scare us about midlife. You don't need to be scared of being in your 40s. So I don't like the term midlife crisis. But there's a reason people get in their 40s and suddenly like wig out. And I think a lot of it is because they, to their credit, did what they thought was right in their 20s and they didn't set aside a lot of time to kind of like do them. And then you get in your 40s and really start to, you know, come in touch with your mortality, which is crazy because you still got another 40, 50 years to live. But anyway, the society we live in starts telling you like it's over at 40. So you're 43 now, and you're looking back and realize you ain't done nothing. But now you got a mortgage and kids and car notes, and you're trying to climb that ladder, middle management, and you got too much going on to be able to just like go to Vegas with and all the bros. They got too much going on, so you can't just hop on a plane and go to Vegas for a week and act stupid, which you could have at 23. and you low key want to. Here's the thing about middle age. There's a lot of stuff you'll look at and be like, "Ah, I really don't want to do that." But there's still that small part of you, especially if you didn't do it. You're still young enough, like when you're in your 40s, to like there's still a small part of you that itches to do certain things or really wish you had, but you can't now. Or in a lot of cases you can. And I think that's why people have midlife crisis is because like there's no they never done it, you know? They never allowed themselves to be a 20-year-old. So then they turn 45 and want to act 20 again, which is fine if you can get away with it. But yeah. Anyway, hey Sandra, Sandra D, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Good to see you. Appreciate the love. Super Chat Squad, thank you so much. I said, who else is super grateful Tim exists in their lifetime? Wow, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Sandra. That means a lot. Thank you. Seriously, that's hashtag abundance. I don't know. That comment hit me. Thank you, Sandra. Like that's what I'm saying. Like this is the we just doing the work we was, given to do. Thank you for saying that. Um, by the way, I need a couple people to raise their hands. This is okay. No one said they were. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. She said, "Who else is grateful to their life?" People like crickets. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. Thank you, Sandra. If I could buy one comic book as an investment, what would I buy? That's hard because I really haven't been looking into the comic book space lately. Um, so yeah, I'm not in that game right now, so I couldn't. I'd have to do a month of research. I'd have to get back into that. Sports cards now, you know, sports cards. Georgia Amore autographs. Georgia Amore rookie autographs. And I honestly would probably invest in some higher end Angel Reese rookies because I think for some reason, people don't like Angel Reese. And I think she's going to be a huge brand. And I think most of the other rookie stuff, especially the higher end, $100 and up, that stuff, I think it's priced decently, most of the other people. But I think you can get some good Angel Reese cards, um, rookie cards that at a price point that you can, 5 years from now could make some money with. So I would say Angel Reese from last year, but from this year, I think like Georgia Amore. Since she didn't play, I think her cards are still undervalued just a little bit. I think there's, yeah, like some Georgia Amore autos would be, because I'm always looking for undervalued. Like you can buy at, price and still make money, but I'm always looking for undervalued. So yeah, that would be my pick on that. But I couldn't speak on the comic books because I haven't been in that world in a while. Clint coming through again. Clint Perry, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Super Chat Squad, thank you so much. Um, says you must start early with investing and work to 67, and you can hit $1 million. That is one path, Clint, and I'm all for starting as early as possible. Because then compounding interest kicks in, and yeah. Um, I don't think that's the only path though. You know, so I think that is one path um, to reaching $1 million invested. But I think there are other paths if that's what you're going for. Um, but the idea that like we have to work till 60, like y'all know me, I'm all about gap year, adult gap year, sabbaticals, taking time off. So I don't know, to working straight through from like 23 to 67, just so that like hopefully I have enough money saved up at 67 to live the life I want. I'm more of the like, hey, why don't we do that why don't we figure out a way to do that while still taking breaks, you know, from now to 67. Like I don't want to work straight through to 67. I'm 46 and I don't want to work straight through another 20 years, But like, hey, that doesn't mean we can't still end up with a decent, investment portfolio and savings accounts and assets, you know. Thank you for the love. Thank you. Thank you. Super Chat Squad, let's go. And good luck on getting that mill. Yeah, I gotta be honest, lady, I'm with DJ on this one. I I just don't. I think a lot of the stuff we've been told about aging and how you're gonna feel in your 40s, I just don't think is we have to. I have the energy at 46 to do all the things I want to do. You know what I mean? If there's something I want to do, I got the energy. And I still, you know what I mean? I still work. Like this summer, I was proud of myself. I still busted my butt and worked hard. You know what I mean? So I'm like, even at 46, like I know I can't hang with them young boys on everything, but like I'm good. And the messaging a lot of times is, you're going to start getting tired. Your body's going to. I'm just personally like I'm just not going to feed into that. Like if my body gets tired, well, it gets tired. You know what I mean? If my bones start aching, but I'm not going to pre my bones aching, saying my bones are going to start aching. You know? Do I got it like I used to? No, but I'm still in the game. I'm still in the mix. You know what I mean? And part of that is because when I was younger, I went hard. Like you wasn't out working Tim. If there was a couple jobs where there was dudes who outworked me and it drove me crazy, but these dudes was like superstars because you ain't gonna outwork Tim. I still, we still there. So I don't know. I just don't like to before things start happening speak them into existence just because like society has told me at this age is gonna happen. Like if I'm trying to live to be 90, bro, I'm gonna be if I want to, I can still work hard physically at 60. Let's go. Why not? Why not? So and if not, well then I'll just admit it when it happens. Like, oh yeah, I hit 55 and let me sit down. But I don't know. Like and I respect everyone's opinion on that, but I'm just like I refuse to speak age issues into my life before they happen. Any good book recommendations? I just ordered and I'm reading this book not because I care to be a millionaire, but it was recommended as a good financial book. But I think it's called Millionaire Fastlane. I just ordered it, so I listened to a little of the audiobook, but like it wasn't the real audiobook. So like it started at chapter 10, but I listened to like 3 minutes of it. I was like, oh, I like this. So I ordered that book. So I'll let you know how that goes. The last time I cried, like really, really cried, it probably was it a year? A couple years ago, maybe, year and a half ago. I'm not sure. Um, a really good friend of mine died, and it took me a month or so, but I'll never forget. I was in an Airbnb in Salt Lake City, South Salt Lake, um, and it was a house, so there was all the rooms were rented out, and the walls were kind of thin, and I had the master bedroom, so I remember I just, you know, one day it just hit me, and I just went in the bathroom. I had to go in the bathroom because the walls were so thin. I didn't want them. They wouldn't. I just didn't want them to be like, "Hey, you okay in there?" Thinking something was wrong. And I just went on the bathroom, and I fell to the floor, and I grabbed a towel, and I put it against my face, and like, I just cried, bro. Like, I just cried, bro. That was the homie. You know what I mean? So like, and up until that time, I'd been sad or whatever, but like, that was my guy. But that day, it just hit me, man. I thought about something. I don't know what it was, and I thought about a memory, and I hadn't grieved totally yet. And I just felt it coming, man. Like I said, I ran to the bathroom, was in the fetal position, towel over my face, bro, and like it just, sometimes you just gotta let it go. So, and I needed that. So I think that was the last time I really, really, really cried. Because I don't cry much, but that was a hard death for me. So yeah, man. So yeah, to answer your question, Kenneth, what's going on? Have I ever thought about using AI to help find freelance work? I don't really do any freelance work, but I use AI all the time to help me, with coming up with video titles and different stuff, investment ideas. So yeah, if you're doing freelance work, I totally would use, I think AI is a helper, you know, um, and I think more and more people are using AI to help them. So like if we want to stay competitive, I think we have to use AI too on some level if we want to. So I'm all for it. Yeah, you can just ask it. This is the type of freelance work I do. How can I get more business? You know? Oh, thank you, John. And DJ, thank you. It's death is a part of life. So um I firmly believe in some incarnation down the line we'll meet again. So, is what it is. But yeah, people move on. So, but yeah, I mean, sometimes you got to get it out. Nothing wrong with crying. Get stuff out. I mean, I think we have the reason we have tears is because like it serves a purpose. A lot of work went into us like being able to cry. It would have been a lot easier to make the human model without tears, tear ducts, and so like there's a reason all that was put in us. So like I think when you're feeling it, go for it. Go for the waterworks. Let them out. Like whenever I feel myself crying, I just cry. It don't happen much, but when it does, I just go for it. Like I don't try to, I might hide, but yeah, I don't hold back. Like this men don't cry stuff. No, 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 no. I cry. I just don't cry a lot. It's just not me. But if I'm ever feel tears coming, I let them go because usually end up feeling better. So I'm not gonna hold back a natural process just because somebody told me men don't do it. You know. 55, 71. That is not an embarrassing question, I think. Honestly, me and a friend of mine were literally talking about this at work the other day. I don't know how to find more friends. I wish I did. I wish I did. I got the best friends in the world, but like, and this was my thing I was saying the other day. Um, I would love to have like a group of boys close, you know what I mean? The homies. Like I would love to have a group of like 3 or 4 guys that like we get up, we watch WNBA games together, maybe we hang out, go out to dinner, I'd love to have some homies, just my boys. I got one, and I'm so blessed to have him who lives close by. And I got, so some of my female friends in the area, and I love them to death. But I was just like, I don't have the homies. I would love to, couple guys, Saturday night, let's get up, let's do something. Leave the ladies at home. Let's roll, but I don't know how you make that happen, So I feel blessed to have had that in the past, but as a middle-aged man, I don't know how to make that happen. So yeah, I think that universally is a question I've heard people ask. I should say universally, but I've heard a lot of people ask that, especially as you get a little older. It's like I want some more friends, but how do I make them? Where do I find them? You know? And I think we all are kind of more reserved as we get older, and we feel kind of weird. Like when you're young, you make friends quick. Hey, what up? What you doing? Let's go. But like, yeah, you start to get a little older. I think it's like you don't want to be the person be like, hey, you want to be friends? And they like, I got a whole family. Calm down. So I don't know. I don't know. If I find out, I'll let y'all know. Because yeah, I think we're all kind of looking for that. I definitely, yeah, think smiling and being open to strangers is the key. But these days, I mean, most of the time we're on our phone or, you know, um, I don't know. I just think, yeah, especially as adults, we just got a lot more going on. I don't know. See if we can figure it out though. Kevin, you don't have friends and you're 21? Oh, Kevin, we got to get you out the house. We got to get you in the mix. Kev, come on, Kev. And I do think because of, you know, the way we're on our phones more and just the way the world is now, even younger people are having a harder time finding friends. Because I see that video a lot too. I'm 23, I don't have any friends. I'm 27, I've never had a best friend, which hurts to hear that. But Kev, we got to get you some friends. Friends are amazing, man. Have a lot of fun. You can't ghost ride the whip by yourself. Yes, you can. Actually, We used to do that too. But ghost riding the whip is a lot more fun. Not saying to, not recommending that. I forgot this day and age, you gotta be careful what you say. I'm not recommending anybody ghost ride the whip. But if you were to go against my advice and do it, it's a lot better with friends. Alvin, I do not like turkey. No, no, no. Let's get Kevin to the club. To the club. Go, Kev. Go create a monster out here with Kev. Have I ever seen an unexplained light in the sky? Oh, no, I don't think so. I don't think so, Iris. No. I did see that satellite they shot down a few years back. That spy satellite they shot down. I was in South Carolina. I was in Myrtle Beach, and it came right, but that's where they shot it down. I was there. I was there. I was in the Starbucks. I was in the Starbucks. People start stopping in the middle of the street, and these kids were like, "There's something in the sky." We're like, "Whatever." Nope. I thought I was joking. I was like, "Oh, these kids are weird." Nope. People start slowing down. You know, it's something big when like people in expensive cars stop in the middle of the street. There was like, brand new Mercedes, people getting out in the middle of the street. I'm like, what is going on out here? Satellite. Then later the jets came by and shot it down. You heard it. Pow! Like it was that was probably one of the weird when people say, what's one of your craziest travel stories? That was one. Because I'm like, what are the chances? And my friend Allison, Travel Snacks, is her YouTube channel. She was there because I ran up and got her. I'm like, there's a satellite. And like me and her were on the balcony of the condo we had when they blew it up. We were like, what are the I think she got some footage of it. We were like, what are the chances that there's like a roving spy satellite and like we're here when they shoot it down? Crazy, 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 crazy. 55. You don't have no friends neither? What's going on? Yeah, you know me, I'm very expressive. I move my head, the hands, all that. That's what I do. That's what I do. Yeah, that was wild. It's interesting. Back to like the friends thing. And I'm not sure, who's introverts, who's not. But that's part of the thing with me is like I'm out and about a lot, you know. But when I'm out and about, I don't really talk to people because I'm so introverted. So sometimes it's hard, a lot of the suggestions that I'll just speak for the introverts here. A lot of the suggestions we have for like making new friends are harder for us because like we don't interact like that, you know. I don't know. Maybe the Meetup app. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Hey, that's awesome, lady. Was a flight attendant for 11 years, still talk to people. That's me. I'll be on the when I'm on the plane. You know me. I'm a friendly person. I get on the plane. I don't talk. I don't talk on the plane. Nope. 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 I don't know. I feel like I'm more talkative on Amtrak for some reason. But like on a plane, I don't really talk. Like if a little small talk, a little chit chat. But like I think the most I ever talked on a plane. Um, there was a lady who sat next to me, and she was married, and we had some really good conversation. And she asked me like what I was doing after the flight. She was like, "Oh, what are you doing after the flight?" She's like, "I got like a 3 hour layover. What are you doing?" You know. But I don't do married. You know what I mean? Like if I know someone's married in a relationship, I'm not gonna do nothing with them. Because she was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go down to I got a 3 hour layover. I might go to the bar." And I was just like, "Nah, I gotta catch my flight." I was like, "I'm not even playing this game. I wanted to. Ooh, I wanted to. That would have been a story." Because like I said, we talked for the whole flight. Yeah, she was. Yeah. Oh, if I did not have my morals and principles, it would have went down. But I was just like, "Nah, I gotta go catch my flight." But that's probably the most I talked on the flight because she was attractive, and feeling the kid, feeling unk. But I seen that, and she even mentioned like her husband. I'm like, bro, like at least she was honest. But I'm like, how you gonna be flirting, but like mentioning your husband? But at least she was putting it out there. And I think for a lot of people they wouldn't have cared. But I just like I got rules. Like I can't. If I know you're in a relationship and I know you married, we can. We can talk and I can fantasize, but that's as far as it's gonna go. Sandra, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Super Chat Squad, thank you so much. Said I came across this video and it kind of reminded me of the stuff you talk about. Not sure if you've seen it, but thought you might resonate with it. Desire, the rise of the low desire society. No, I don't think I've seen that. I'll look into that. The rise of the low desire society. Actually, hold on, let's see this. If I don't put it in my phone, I won't remember it. Let's see. Let's see. I'm on my phone. Thank you, Xander. Super Chat Squad. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for the recommendation of the low desire. Let's see. There it is. Okay, I'll check that out. I'll check that out. Thank you. Thank you, Xander. Thank you. I think I've seen that guy before. Super Chat Squad. Thank you. Looks like I had a lot of that going on. The movie Planes, Trains, and Automobiles? I don't like. I know the movie you're talking about, and I know I've seen it, but I don't like remember it. Yeah, I remember. Was it John Candy and Steve Martin in that one? 80s. Oh, Alvin, I'm still in Montana. I'm still in Montana. So I got peoples here. I got people. So it's. I was thinking about doing some traveling for a while. Just probably around the country. But like honestly, I didn't have anything to do. You know, um, and I would be by myself. So I was like, you know what? I think I'll just save that money and take a trip, international trip, sometime early next year, hopefully. Maybe spring, March, April, something like that. And just like keep working. So I really and hanging out with my friends because you know I'm 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 enjoying. I enjoyed this summer being able to like save money and invest money um, with like a steady income. And I enjoy being able to like see my friends and I don't know, like I just didn't feel the need to be on the road. Sometimes I have. Sometimes I can't wait to be like, oh, let me get back on the road. Let's go. I didn't feel the need this time. You know what I mean? Um, I was just like, yeah, I thought about it. And I was, you know what? Opportunities popped up and I was like, yeah, I can just stay in Montana, chilling, get back to work. So here we are. Would I consider myself a loner? I think people would describe me that way. I probably wouldn't. I would probably say I'm a bit of a loner. That's probably how I would use that word. Honestly, I just really enjoy, in my mind, it's normal to be alone most of the time. Actually, hold on. I gotta close the blind. In my mind, it's normal to be alone most of the time. I think that's just what I do. I don't know. That's why all my relationships are long distance because I don't know. I just like my alone time. So maybe, I guess, maybe. DOAEP. Hey, that's awesome. That's awesome. So this is literally the first time I've ever been interested in a live video. Awesome, awesome, awesome. This guy is doing something that's resonating. Yes. Thank you. I appreciate that comment. Thank you. We're working here, and it's working. Let's go. Oh, lady, you think about relocating to Helena? I was talking to a guy today, a Jamaican guy from Helena. Yeah, Kenneth, I do think trust has gotten lower. And once again, I think a lot of the issues we're going through stem from information overload, especially negative information overload. And we're constantly being bombarded with reasons not to trust people. No one ever it's not a sexy news story to tell you somebody did something good for somebody, but it's a sexy news story to tell you all the bad people are doing to other people. So, yeah, I don't think people are any less trustworthy than they used to be. I think the numbers are the numbers, maybe slight variations, but I think we perceive people to be less trustworthy than they ever have been. I think we perceive the world to be worse than it's ever been. And I think, the news media, social media, um, plays a big part in that. But like, it's up to each one of us to turn it off. You know, sexy and news don't belong in the same sentence. I mean, when I say sexy, I mean like it catches your eye. Negative news stories are sexy. They catch your eye. Oh, what's happening? Who did what? But a positive news story, people change the channel. Yeah, whatever. Grand Prairie, Texas in the building. What up, Andis? Hey, David. Thank you. So keep doing what you're doing. We going to. We going to. Thank you. Appreciate you checking in. We here. A little cold outside, a little chilly outside. Had a snow squall the other day, but blessed to have heat. That's well, the heat. I'm telling you, air conditioning and the heat are blessings. Very grateful for HVAC these days. Which I didn't have air conditioning all summer, but I didn't need it because I was up in the mountains. A couple times I had to open the window, but yeah, blessed to have not needed air conditioning all summer up there in the Montana mountains. But definitely need heat. Making sure I didn't miss anybody. Comment. Yeah, there was a documentary about John Candy on Prime. Prime, now that they have ads on everything on Prime, I don't know. I don't watch as many shows. Like if it's not a show I purchased and it's ad free, I don't really watch too much on Prime no more. I'll be honest with you. That was disappointing. You know. Well, I got to work tomorrow, John. Sorry, I didn't see your question before. I have to work tomorrow, so probably not. If I did, it would be in the evening. But yeah, I got to work tomorrow, so we're gonna get that time and a half. We're gonna get that time and a half. Which one is it? The cup half full or the cup half empty? I'll be honest with you, J Love. I'm just happy to have a cup with some liquids in it. I feel blessed to have a cup with some liquids in it. Other people can debate half full, half empty. I'm just glad that I got the cup with some liquids in it. Let's go. Hashtag gratitude. That's the way I view it. James says, do you think the term luxury just simply means a nicer building design and modern conveniences, whereas cheaper options will provide more meaningful experience? Just a thought-provoking question. I definitely don't think just because something's cheaper that it's a more meaningful experience. No. Um, I think you can take the luxury route and have a more meaningful experience. Depending on what it is. I don't think that we always have to demonize the money or luxury or any of that. Um, and I don't think that being cheap or frugal necessarily is always better. You know, personally. Orion, if I was always tired, I probably would eventually check with a physician just to maybe do some blood work or something. See if there's something internally off that maybe they could fix. Kenneth said, I need that cup full. I mean, hey, yeah, that's the thing too. If you're looking at the cup and you can't decide if it's half empty or half full, just find a way to fill it all the way up. Now you know it's full. My cup runneth over. Let's go. Okay, I see you, RM, writing that buddy cop script. Okay, page 78. Okay, okay. Buddy cop action script. Okay, all right, all right. Good luck. Good luck. I like the passion goals. You know, I like the passion goals. I love that, like you, and it's actionable. Like you know how far along you are on page 78. You know, on page 100. You know what I mean? That's awesome. That's awesome. Good luck. Keep us updated, please, please. I want to see how that goes. When you put it out, I'm gonna watch it. When you put it out, I'm watching it. I'm saying that now. Hey, John. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Super Chat Squad. Thank you so much, John. Said I'm living my greatest life in McLean, Texas. I love the fact that you continue to let us know that, and and more importantly, you're continuing to do that. So that's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you so much, John. Thank you for the love. Hey, Ross Travels, my boy Isaiah, what up? What up? What up? Good to see you, my brother. Hey, I appreciate that love, that abundance. Super Chat Squad definitely in the building. Heavy donator to the Freedom Fund. Thank you so much. Says Tim, hope you're doing well. 2 live streams in 2 days. You know, I'm on my third Greyhound in Australia. 17 and a half hour leg. Oof. Oof. Maybe I'll be the Aussie Greyhound guru. Go for it. Go for it. So love you, man. Always brag about you and take care. Hey, that's awesome, man. Hey, I appreciate the love. You always coming through, updating us. Hang in there. Hang in there. Your third Greyhound leg. I've been there. I know that, most people just read that. Oh, third leg, 17 and a half hour. I know what that is. Maybe not in Australia. So yeah, maybe we need to do some videos. Yeah, break down what it is in Australia. Because I don't know. But I know how rough that could be. Probably not as rough as America, I would hope. But that's awesome, man. And enjoy yourself. Enjoy the journey if you can. Enjoy the journey. And I appreciate you bragging about your boy, man. That means the world to me. That means the world to me. So you take care too, and thank you, thank you, thank you. Hey, Alice the Hobo coming through. Super Chat train. Choo choo. Thank you, Alice. Thank you. Thank you. Super Chat squad. Thank you. So just sitting here with my wife and saying what a great way to spend the evening. Awesome. We are in Indiana and it is 33, feels like 12 outside up here for holiday gatherings. Thanks for hosting tonight. Some gratitude. I appreciate the gratitude, the love, the abundance. Super Chat Squad, thank you. And shout out to you and your wife. Up there braving that Indiana weather. I feel like Indiana is one of those places I never thought got cold. I don't know why, but apparently it gets cold and they get tons of snow. But I don't know. Like, you know how you have an idea of like certain states and what the weather's like. I never knew Indiana gave it up like that in the wintertime until I was looking into going to like a Notre Dame game and they had like a crazy snowstorm. And people was like, yeah, it gets crazy in Indiana. So stay warm. You and wifey stay warm. And I appreciate the love, appreciate the abundance, donating to the Freedom Fund. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. Up there in Indiana. I gotta get to Indiana. I want to go to a Fever game and a Notre Dame game. Even though Notre Dame, the women's basketball team isn't the same since a lot of the young ladies left. A lot of them got drafted. A couple got drafted. I think like three got drafted. Well, two got drafted and one ended up in the W. Other ones, moved on, but I still want to go to a game. How much time I got left? You mean on the planet or in the stream? Do you have any advice on starting a YouTube channel, especially on how to do minimal editing? River, great question. Y'all know me. I love talking about YouTube. Let me get a sip of water. I think honestly, when it comes to minimal editing, this is one of the better times to start on YouTube because there was this myth in the past that like you had to do a ton of editing. And I think people kind of looked for that. People kind of looked for like the heavily edited videos. I don't think that's the case anymore. Um, and you're starting to see more and more people do lightly edited videos. So my thing is this, like just edit as much or as little as you want. And the people who like that style will watch, and the people who don't won't. So it's really up to you. I don't think you have to edit to your audience anymore. In the past, well, I never did because I'm lazy. I'm not no, but like edit. Like, there were some videos I would edit because it was fun. Like I'd do a video, but oh, I want to edit this one. I want some B-roll. I want some music, whatever, because it's fun. Other videos, I was like, I'm just gonna stay here and talk. That's mainly what I do now. But like I don't think you have to edit to your audience anymore. I think you just edit however much or how little you want to edit. As for like starting a channel, I'm always say go for it. I recommend when you're pick topics. I won't even say a topic or a niche. I used to say that. pick topics or niches, plural, that you enjoy talking about. I think it works out better for everyone. Like people can tell when you're excited about a topic. Not to mention it makes it easier to do follow-up videos on it. These are things you're gonna have to talk about a lot if you want to continue on YouTube. So pick topics that you like, that you have something to say about, that you're passionate about, that you enjoy discussing. I always say find the things that, you love to talk about that your friends are tired of hearing you talk about. Because those are the things you can find a community online that don't mind talking about it with you. But and then just create content. I think most of the tricks and the tips and the hacks you'll learn as you go. Those aren't really things that people can help you with. I think you can watch videos about it, but I think most of it you learn along the way. I've noticed that I think the amount of YouTube tip people has kind of gone down because I think more people are realizing, yeah, have great titles, having, good thumbnails. That's best practices. But as far as how to really blow up, I think it's different for everyone. And some people followed the rules and got no traction, and other people just slap stuff up on the internet and they're, you know, huge content creators now. So I just say go for it. And, you know, as things work or things don't work, you do more of that, less of that. Just I think posting consistency is the key. But yeah, getting started and staying consistent, I think, is the key. And you're welcome. Cheap flights to Iceland from Portland? No, okay. I didn't know that. I've been watching a lot of Love Connection with Chuck Woolery. That show resulted in 29 marriages and 5 children. Is that positive or negative? Was that the goal? Unfortunately, that show resulted in 29 marriages and 5 children. Sheena, you love the cold? Oof. Oof. Oh, your peoples is from Siberia on your mom's side. Okay, that makes sense. I could do without the cold. I could do without the cold. I was totally fine with the weather in Florida. That is not why I left. I mean, the hurricanes were a bit of a pain, but you lived through a couple of them. Um, I mean, most of the hurricanes I lived through were low category by the time they got to me. So, but yeah, that was a pain every year. Here come the hurricanes. Um, but I didn't leave Florida because of the weather. I'd much rather be hot and humid than snowy. But I do like this part of the country a lot better these days. So that's why I'm here. But this 5 months of winter, we I was telling myself today, we just got to get through this winter, and it's all gonna be worth it come spring. It's only November. I'm already looking for spring. We ain't even had real winter weather yet. I'm like, it's all gonna be worth it this spring. Just hang in there, Tim. Yeah, yeah, that cold. I don't know. Like I'm the dude. Like I like heat. I coming from out the cold. I crank that heat up. I'm the type I crank the heat up and then I have to turn it down. But I want to experience that heat. Um, yeah, when I first get in the house. Can't experience weather when you're dead. That's kind of a positive. But I mean, well, here's my thing. My views on death is, death is just a doorway to your next existence. So there's probably going to be weather in that existence too. So I might get to escape weather for about 3 seconds, and then I'm going to pop up somewhere else, and it would probably be different weather. Who knows? You could pop up on the other side of the universe where they don't have hot and cold. They've got Marf and Snarf. I don't know. Totally different weather. Or they might not have weather on other. I don't know. I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see. But this is it's fun, and this is why I have trouble thinking that as humans we can pinpoint exactly what's going to happen when you die, because all we have is human understanding. Even what I just said might be the most basic, incorrect, ignorant thinking, you know, on a universal scale. So it's just like it's weird to me, and no disrespect to anyone's opinion, but when people think they know exactly what's going to happen when they die, I'm like, how? Like, bro, it's a big universe. Anything could happen. Like, I mean, now if you've read a holy book and you interpreted that the divine has told you, cool, I respect that. Um, but I'm just like, how can you know? Like, it's a all we have is human understanding, bro. I don't know. Thank you, DJ. Insist they bury you with your furs on. Nah, I'm trying to be cremated. I'm trying to be cremated. I don't need. I don't want a funeral. I don't need a burial plot. I don't need a cast. I don't want none of that. Just cremate me. Throw my ashes in the nearest trash can. Keep it moving, bro. Like I don't. You know. And yeah, they waste all that money on a burial for what? I don't. I never saw the point. Retired 2019. Enjoy that fourth quarter of life. Let's go. Let's go. Anne Marie says we're in the end of time. Hey, I respect that opinion. A lot of people feel that way. I personally don't. You know, part of that is because they've been saying that since they came up with the term end of times. We've been living in it. But who knows? We might be. I don't know. I personally don't look at life that way, but I could be wrong. Hey, tomorrow could be the end. Period. So okay, yeah, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. Okay, we're not doing that. We're not proselytizing in the chat. Like, come on, at least say hello. Okay, moving on. I don't have any upcoming trips that I've booked yet, Ross. I have a few in mind. And I've been saying that for the longest, but like it's gonna, yeah. Um, Abby's good. Abby's good. I literally saw her yesterday. Abby's doing good. Family's doing good. Like, yeah, yeah, yeah. So literally saw her yesterday. So yeah, I'll tell you asked about her. Tell you asked about her. Yeah, you definitely need to come through and visit, man. Come on, come through. Yeah, I'll tell her. I'll tell her. I know she'll be excited that I talk with you. But yeah, yeah. Abby's good, man. I've never had a psychedelic exploration. I know some people who have, and they swear by it. Also, they also have some bad experiences. Most of them too. But that's just not something I'm interested in. But some people swear by it. Agent checking in from Saskatchewan. Let's go. I do think we are in the end stages of capitalism. Yes, I do agree with that. Yeah. But who knows? It might start all over again. I don't know. I mean, it's not like mankind has ever come up with any type of government or economic system that lasted forever anyway. So it's not that I'm like excited that if capitalism crashes, the next one will do any better. I don't, so Roger, what up? How you doing? Tired 2019, enjoying Thanksgiving at Timothy Wardway, 5 mile walk, watching sports. It's simple, easy, easy. Yeah, no, enjoy it. Enjoy, have fun, have fun. Lene, I will. I'll tell Abby you said hi. I'm sure she'll be happy to hear that too. Whenever we're together, we talk about, all the people we work with and the resort and like, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'll definitely tell her. I'll tell her. She gonna be happy when I'm like, bro, we was talking about you last night in the live stream, bro. They was talking about you. And she gonna be like, what? Yeah, I'll tell her, definitely tell her. J Love, you assume we all face a judgment day? I mean, maybe that's another one of those things. Like, I have to ask myself, if religion didn't tell us there was a judgment day, would you think there was a judgment day? If I was just born under the stars and lived my life, and there was no holy books that told me there was a judgment day, would I think there was a judgment day? I don't think I would. Maybe I would. I don't think I would. Like, judgment for what? Like, what have I done? Like, I just think that, I think that comes from organized religion and the belief in sin. And like, there's things I don't do because, I live by a moral code. I try to live by a moral code. I got my principles, but I don't know if I believe in like sin, and judgment for doing stuff that like. It just seems weird that the divine would create you with the desire to do certain things. Because it's not like we went to the store and bought the desire to lie or steal or whatever it is. It was in us, and we resist whatever these desires are to whatever level we feel we should. Sometimes we mess up, sometimes we give in, sometimes we hurt people, but it just seems weird to me that the divine would create us with the ability to do that and then turn around and judge us for the times we messed up. Well, if you don't want us doing it, just don't have us do. Yeah, I don't know. That's just the way I look at it. Maybe there's judgment day. I don't know. Hey, you're welcome, lady. Get them taxes done. XRP is the next phase of capitalism. Oh, okay. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Maybe, David. I don't know of AI and robots. I don't know how AI and robots would create wealth to that level, but they might. That'd be awesome if your work was optional, but we still had everything we needed. That'd be amazing. I'd love that. If AI got rid of poverty and we all were comfortable, had everything we needed, and we could do the work we wanted to do. I'd love that. Oh, but Sheila, you think a new capitalism will replace this last one? That's kind of what I think would happen. But I mean, that's kind of what's always happened in the past. Like, there's a crash, and then something else just takes its place, and that crashes, and then something. Just like empires collapse, another one takes its place, and then a few hundred years later, that one collapses, and then it's all cycles. We humans just keep doing the same things over and over again. That's why I don't get all worked up when people are like, this is the end. They said that 200 years ago. They said that during World War One, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I have not, Alvin. No, that's a good point, fighter. You said the Judgment Day notion will come to me from naturally seeing evil done to family loved ones and hoping there'll be justice one day. Okay, I can see that. That's actually a very good point. I can see that. But I wonder. Hmm. I'd have to ponder on that. That's actually a very good point. Hmm. Okay, I could see that. I could see that. People keep telling me I should write a book. Maybe one day. Maybe one day. I would love to have written a book. I just haven't gotten around to writing it. Think we're headed to a post-scarcity economy. We're gonna have to readjust our view of economics. I can see that. I can see that. I like to think if I wrote a book, it'd be a good one, though it could suck. So, well, if I ever do, we'll see. But thanks for saying that. Kevin, I don't think I would clone myself if I could. There's nothing I need another me to be doing. Like, you know. So yeah, I don't think I would, like, would be the point. Like, I don't need two of me. I'm chilling. I'm good. So yeah, I don't think I'd clone myself. Like, I don't do enough to need extra help. Like, I don't. Yeah, no. But I feel like feudalism in Europe lasted way after the Roman Empire. Actually, I feel like feudalism in Europe really was at its peak after the Roman Empire fell, if I'm recalling history correctly. I feel like the Europe was still mainly like tribes when they were going up against the Roman Empire. It was like after the Roman Empire fell that feudalism came about, if I'm recalling history correctly. I think there's a lot of good men out there. I think there's a lot of good women out there. Um, I will admit my view is skewed. We were talking about this at work the other day too. I admit my view is skewed because I think I try to be a decent, good man, and so I run into mainly I attract more people who try to be good men and women as well. So it seems to me like the world is full of good men and women. Though I totally understand that, like, if that hasn't been your experience, you would see it different. But I'm always like, man, there's lots of good people out there, you know? I don't know. Yes, some people say we're living in feudalism now. I could see the parallels. Which the good news is that feudalism went away. This one will too. It's all cycles. This is why I don't get too worked up about what's going on in the world. It's all cycles. You got to look at history. We've been through all this before. Humans just keep doing the same things over and over again with different technology. The only thing that changes is the technology. It's the same game over and over and over again. Different technology. Well, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. I agree. Retired 2019. We're people. I think loneliness can drive people to make poor choices, as well as other things. So I do think that it does seem that people aren't as invested in picking a good partner as much as like picking a partner. It seems that way. Um, but then more and more people are staying single too. So you know, which means there are more available good people if you can find one. Yeah, Alan, I don't mind being in management. Yeah, if it's a company, a lot of it depends on the position, depends on the company. But yeah, I don't mind being in management for the right company. If the compensation is on point and you know there's a good management team around me, yeah, I don't mind being a manager. Now, there would be some situations where I wouldn't. I'd say no, but it's kind of case by case, situational basis. I don't like to blanketly, when it comes to like work, say yes or no across the board about anything. But like, yeah, it's definitely wouldn't be a no in the right situation. I think I have a lot to offer in a management position. You know, so yeah, in the right position, yeah, let's go. I would like the challenge in the right position. The book of Peter said, "Stay single during these times." Yeah, no. I mean, I think no matter what times it is, it's a beautiful thing if you can find true love, um, in whatever form. So, if you can meet that person and y'all fall in love and it's genuine, it's true, and y'all spend many, many happy years together. Maybe not forever, but like, or maybe it is forever. I don't think that's ever a bad thing, you know. And part of me feels that like that wasn't a direct message of like stay single in bad times, because I think no matter what the times, it's easier to get through them with other people. I think that was more, I don't want to say flowery language, but like that seems to be one of those things where like it wasn't a direct command. It's like during bad times, it's more of like, hey, it might be easier to be single some of these times because if you got loved ones, you got a family, it's going to be harder. But like that doesn't mean don't do that. Just know what comes with it. My opinion. Or yeah, if you're like, nah, I'm gonna stay single and grind, I respect that too. There's no wrong answer. Um, I just think sometimes we there's no wrong answer for ourselves. Um, or any like I think sometimes we look at other people and judge their choice. But I'm like, if other people want to get married, have kids, go for it. You know, if people want to stay single and stack chips, go for it. You know, if people want to do a little bit of both, go for it. You know. Oh, I like that. Never ask for more than you can give. I like that. I like that. I like that. I like that. Bloom, how you doing? To your point, John, yeah, I mean, every empire that's ever graced the face of the earth has crumbled, you know, eventually. It's the nature of empire, you know. Now, some empires, or I won't even say crumbled, but I'll say every world power that's been the world power has been dethroned, you know. Every empire that was top dog eventually wasn't. And, over time, long enough, most empires kind of turned into something else. So, I think any government or any empire to think it's going to last forever is asking a lot, you know, because that would go against all human history. But some of them stick around for a while, and then they might get a lot smaller, but they're still, it's all once again, it's cycles. It's the history repeating itself. Once you see that, I'm telling you, once you see that, I know for me, my anxiety has lessened because I don't have to worry about like, oh, what's going to happen. It's all the same game. It's all the same game. John, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Super Chat Squad. So thank you for the stream. Shout out to the trolls. Have there been a lot of trolls here? Super Chat Squad. Thank you for the abundance and the love. Donation to the Freedom Fund. I mean, there's some people commenting a lot, but I don't think there's really any trolls in here, right? None that I saw. But shout out to the trolls if they're here. Sheena's had a few. Really? I mean, from my perspective, I just see some people with some prolific opinions. Nobody really getting too crazy with it. I kind of gauge it with like respect. You know what I mean? Um, if people are being respectful and they're haven't crossed the line, it's when people get disrespectful. Or they come in preaching. That's one that'll get you blocked. When people just come in preaching, they don't like if someone's adding something to the conversation, even if they're a little out there, I usually, but like when people aren't at it, when people come in just to like talk about their thing and it's not making any sense, sometimes I'll be like, no. But I mean, but once again, trolling is subjective. So I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that like there haven't been only a couple people I blocked. There's nobody in here currently that to me I would consider a troll. Um, but it's subjective. So that's the beauty of the internet. I've had this discussion with other friends who are content creators, and we go back and forth on what are if you're going to block somebody, why do you block people? Why do you time out people? Boom, boom, boom. Which actually they say I'm pretty strict. Like I'll block somebody quick, and a lot of them are like, oh, I don't like to block people because I'm like, when you cross the line, it's crossed. Like unless you've been part of the community for a while and you're just having a bad night, because that happens, bad day, that happens. But like, yeah, somebody come through new and they're disrespectful or hateful or any of that stuff. No, it's quick to go. With now they're blocked with love. They're blocked with love. You know, they're blocked with love, but they still be blocked. I probably eat retired 2019, and I don't do it to stay lean. I really want to gain weight, but probably 2 meals a day. I typically don't eat breakfast. So, lunch, dinner, and I'll admit this summer there were times where I was so busy at work, I wasn't eating lunch regularly. So there was a lot of days I eat one meal a day, and it probably shows. Like I look back at, I'm always thin, but like I look back at different months and I can see when, my weight is down a little bit. So maybe this winter I'll bulk up a little bit. That's like 1 pound for me bulking up, but you'll be able to tell the difference in my face. Right in here, you can tell. But yeah, 2 meals a day is like the max for me, probably. I just don't usually eat breakfast. Have I looked into ocean and psychology? No. Big five main human personality traits. Okay, interesting. I think that who we are is at least partially genetic and inborn. Okay, okay. Let's look into it. Maybe if it'll probably pop up. If the algorithm pops it up, I'll look into it. People are strange when you're a stranger. Lonely Girl said, Tim, any advice for dealing with constant hate I get both in real life and on the internet? I get it in real life a lot, but most on the internet. I didn't really start until I came on the internet. Um, T.I. had the quote in a song years ago, and I've said this before, but he was like, being hated's part of the game. It's hard, but it's fair. And I always appreciated that quote because, like, the reason you're getting hate is jealousy. The reason you're getting hate is envy. The reason you're getting hate is, especially from like a lot of the men, I imagine to them you're unattainable. Before them, they see a woman that they're really into that they think is unattainable. You know what I mean? So, like, or for things you have or things you've been able to do. So, like, what I take from that quote is like, it's fair, it's hard. It's hard to do, and we'll talk about that too. But like, it's hard, but like, it's fair because you're winning, because you're doing, because you're achieving. So, like, that's what comes with it on some level. You know what I mean? You got on the internet, you're having success, and here's the thing too: you are being yourself. If you ever want to get hate on the internet, be yourself. You know me. Every now and then I tiptoe over there. I look at your stuff. I check your content and out. Always down to look at a beautiful woman on the internet. Um, and you're very uniquely yourself. The quickest way to get hate on the internet is to be yourself and to win. You know, having success. And I imagine too. What was the Jada Quiz quote? Jada has a quote where he was like, I forget how it always goes, but he always said the love outweighs the hate, and that's something that's really helped me because I'll find myself, I'll be reading my comments, and there will be 20 people agreeing with me, whatever I'm talking about. There'll be 5 or 6 people being like, "Hey Tim, we appreciate this video. Thank you. This is what I needed." Just love, love, and then one person will say something stupid, and that's what I focus on. And suddenly I'm mad. Suddenly I'm like, I don't even want to do this no more. Just that, man, you just give, 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 and people, they're like, wait, I have to correct. I'm like, Tim, 25 people sent you love. 25 people said positive. You know what I mean? One person said something negative. That's what you focus on. And I realized, oh, it's not the hate. It's not, and this isn't true in every case, but typically, there's there's always more love than hate. And I try to focus on the love more because the love can you can get used to it. As humans, we get used to people saying positive stuff to us. We're just like, okay. That's why I try to, when I'm in the comments, someone, hey, thank you, I appreciate that. That means a lot. I try to stay in it because it's real. It's easy to get to the point where, like, people say, oh, but the one bad comment we focus on. So I think it's helpful when possible. No, please, it's hard, I know, and I'm sure it's harder for you than me. Like, just because the way people come at you, um, people come at women so much worse on the internet. I feel like than men. That's what I'm saying by that. But like, I think our focus, if we can focus more on the love than the hate, that helps. And also realizing, like, the reason I'm getting the hate, the reason you're getting so much hate is because you're winning. You're doing well. People are jealous. They're envious. And I know you're like, that's not my fault. I wish they weren't. But like, we end up getting, whatever other people are going through, they put it on us, but at least it's, you know because you're doing well, you're up, so those are the things I try to. It's never easy, but I think it gets easier when I analyze why I'm getting the hate, and then I spend more time on the love, and I block a lot of people, so that helps too. Oh, Krista, glad that was helpful for you too. You know, but yeah, anybody else that might be going through something similar, yeah, that's kind of, that's, yeah, because it's hard, man. It's hard when people come at you. Yeah, I get it. No, no, no. I won't delete this. I won't delete this. I'll leave this one up for a few days, especially since you asked me to. Um, but yeah, man, it's, and I think if you've never really, and these days a lot of people just posting Facebook, Instagram get the hate, but like, yeah, I feel like when you open yourself up, especially on social media consistently, everybody's not on that level where they can see you doing well and not be triggered negatively. Some people just, I don't know. The goal is, hopefully those people turn from that path one day, you know? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna jump off. Going for about 3 hours. About 6 o'clock. Okay, maybe get a little dinner. Plus I gotta use the bathroom. So I'm gonna I can just get up and go use the bathroom, but I'll sit here for 30 minutes having to use the bathroom. But yeah, I'm gonna jump off. I think that's a good time. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Thank y'all for being a part of the stream, part of the community. Hope you have an amazing day tomorrow, doing whatever it is you do on that day. Thank y'all so much. Shout out to Angela, she left, but our moderator, the usual suspects, the thumbs uppers, the lurkers, even the people who had the block with love. Thank y'all so much for being part of the community. Huge shout out to the super chat squad. Y'all came through heavy. Freedom Fund is looking good, so I really appreciate that. Thank y'all so much for that. Everybody doing the reactions, the thumbs up. Love y'all. Let me slow down. Let me say that slowly so people know I'm not just saying that. I love y'all. Love y'all so much. Thank you for spending time with me. We'll talk again soon.